Picture this, 2022! Ah, what a great year that was. Arcade Spirits, the new challengers, finally released to the public, which I was so excited that it finally came out. My Little Pony, A Maritime Bay Adventure came out and everyone forgot that even existed because it was just a piece of shit game, and Sonic 2 came out in theaters and that was just a crazy ride. Man, what a year, right? But in 2022, I was going through, some would say, a visual novel craze. Remember that back in 2020, I was experiencing visual novels for the first time when I first read Arcade Spirits. So by 2022, I wanted to read more and more romance visual novels, whether they had age scenes or not. And this was at the time I finished reading A Sky Full of Stars along with its fan disc, Fine Days. So I was looking for the next visual novel to read. And while I was looking, I came across a CG from a visual novel while googling, and it was this CG right here. And soon, I found the name of the visual novel. It was called Hoshi Ori Yume Mirai. After learning of its name, I did a quick search and found the visual novel and downloaded it to at least give it a try. After booting it up and seeing the title screen for the first time ever, the moment I clicked on New Game, my life was forever gonna change after reading this one-of-a-kind story. Not only introducing me to one of the best heroines ever and one of the best visual novel studios, but also establishing myself as a visual novel fan. Today's video is pretty special as last month was the 10th anniversary of Hoshi Ori Yume Mirai, which still shocks me to hear. It's been 10 whole years since Hoshi Ori first came out in Japan, and what did they do to celebrate the 10th anniversary? The whole studio took a small summer break from work. Great! So while Toneworks does nothing to celebrate Hoshi Ori's 10th anniversary, I'll do it myself. So for today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the entirety of Hoshi Ori and everything that it offers, both the visual novel and the routes, along with a few other things that deserve its own spotlight. So without further ado, let's celebrate Hoshi Ori's 10th anniversary and take a look at the star of the show, Hoshi Ori Yume Mirai. Released back in Japan on July 25th, 2014, this is Hoshi Ori Yume Mirai, a slice-of-life romance visual novel that was developed and published by Toneworks. This is their second big release after Hatsukoi 1/1, and we all know how Hatsukoi 1/1 was. But what about Hoshi Ori? How is that? Well then, let's talk about it. The story follows Ryosuke returning back to his hometown Shionagi after moving away for 7 years, where he is soon transferred into his new school in the middle of the summer, where he meets our 6 main heroines that he'll be spending time with throughout his school life. The taciturn and smart astronomy lover Sora, the energetic and outgoing photographer Natsuki, the shy and friendly childhood friend Marika, the reserved and blunt piano lover Rikka, the refined and curious marine lover Misa, and the mischievous and relaxed transfer student Touko. Together they will join Ryosuke's competitive and hardworking friend Tsuichi in his event management committee to plan the upcoming Tanabata festival. As the plan continues on, Ryosuke will soon find out how precious his memory with his special someone and school life will be as he slowly graduates from school and enters adult life. See, I like this. I like this type of story. Just the simplicity of the whole story or synopsis of the visual novel, it feels so nice to read through this type of story. It's a classic high school romance. There's nothing serious or insane that happens within the novel. Of course, there's some visual novel developers out there that would add something or make it unique to make itself stand out from the various other slice-of-life romance visual novels. But it mainly focuses on showcasing the precious moments we would experience when we're in high school, like if we're experiencing the entire school life with them along the way until they're adults. It's like we've been with these characters side by side for our entire lives. That's what's trying to make us feel when we read Hoshi Ori. And what helps with the story are the characters you meet throughout this novel. You got the main heroines, of course, and Ryosuke as well, but you also got the side characters too that are also a part of the story. These characters really help bring the story to life and make the experience even more realistic. Again, reading through this story with these characters makes it feel like you've been with these characters for your entire lifetime. I think that's what makes the story feel so memorable. With the simplicity and the characters, it makes reading this long story entertaining and emotional. Plus, the art is beautiful as always. Toneworks delivers some high quality art, especially with its background art and CGs, along with the character designs as well. As we've seen in Genro Haruka and even in Hatsukoi 101, some of their art can genuinely look beautiful, and Hoshi Ori does the same here. A lot of the art just looks really fantastic. I love how gorgeous some of the background art and CGs look. The amount of detail, or coloring, or shadows that they add onto each piece of art is commendable. On the other side, we have the gameplay, and it's basically the usual gameplay you would find in any kind of visual novel, clicking and making answers. Most of the choices won't be that effective, so you'll be able to choose who you want to date very easily. Plus, you can play around with your phone by sliding your cursor to the right, although there really isn't much to do on your phone, so it's mainly there just for detail. But moving on from the gameplay is the writing, and it's honestly really good. Again, it mixes well with the simplicity of the story, but also does a great job with being able to capture the personalities of these characters, whether it's the heroines, Ryosuke, or the side characters. It handles a lot of the scenes very well, especially more serious moments within some specific routes, but it also does a great job delivering some genuinely funny moments. There were some moments that honestly gave me a good laugh, especially towards some unexpected ones. But the writing Hoshi Ori does one thing best, delivering the cozy and relaxing nature of a high school story, whether it's focusing on, let's say, the simple slice of life high school moments, or wholesome romantic scenes. That's where the writing delivers extremely well, in my opinion. Another thing is the voice acting, and it's fantastic. The novel is fully voice acted and features some notable voice actors from various other visual novels, like Ryoko Ono as Rikka, Natsumi Tanizaki as Sora, Kei Maeda as Marika, Mami Ozaki as Misa, Aiko Okubo as Natsuki, and Natsumi Takada as Touko. They all did a fantastic job in their respective roles, especially Ryoko and Hatsumi as Rikka and Touko, but Ryoko especially because, my god, she delivered the best performance in the entire visual novel, especially towards one of the more emotional scenes in Rikka's route, and it made me a fan of her very quickly. I'll talk more about her later, but here, take a listen to the voice acting and see for yourself, as you may recognize their voices from other visual novels.
任せなさいって。私が本気出せば余裕よ余裕。はいはい、お米を炊きたい。私が持ってきたんだし、いいよね。私もちゃんと持ってきました。問題ない。私も頼まれたものは全部持ってきたよ。文句の一つでも言ってあげようと思ったの。今度同じことされたら先に帰るんだから。
And of course, we can't forget about the 18 plus content that is included in the novel. And yes, there's a lot, and I mean a lot of H scenes, and it happens fairly often in some routes than you might think, especially once you start dating one of the girls. It's not that all too distracting, to be honest. Sometimes I enjoy it, sometimes I despise it, and sometimes I just leave entirely. But if you enjoy the H scenes, well, here you go! Then the music, and man, Hoshi Ori's background music, or BGM, is easily one of the more memorable visual novel BGMs for me. It perfectly captures the summer vibes of a high school life, the fun energy of hanging out with friends, the liveliness of working at the committee, and the coziness of spending time with your special someone. It adds so much to the atmosphere of the novel to create such a great mood depending on the scene. Either something lighthearted, something sad, something romantic, or something amazing. Here, take a listen to the music. let's talk about the main focus of Hoshi Ori, and that's the routes. There are a total of 6 different routes to go through. They might be all similar to each other goal-wise, but all 6 routes try to differentiate from each other. So let's go over all 6 routes and see what they have to offer. First off is Marika's route. Her route mainly focuses on the growing relationship between her and Ryosuke. Ryosuke has known Marika ever since they first met back in their early years as kids. She used to be a very fragile person as she used to have breathing problems, which many kids would make fun of her, and the only person who stood up for her was Ryosuke. But after meeting each other again, Ryosuke still continues to protect her like before, but soon realizes that Marika doesn't need help anymore. She's changed. She's grown to protect herself. But he also realizes that he is slowly gaining feelings for her. Next is Sora's route. Her route basically revolves around Ryosuke wanting Sora to join the festival and use her club as a way to gain new members. But Sora doesn't want to at first. So Ryosuke continues to spend time with her and get to know her more on a personal scale, where he learns more about how she got into astronomy in the first place, as well as finding out about a wish she's been making for years now. All the while, he tries his best to convince her to join the festival. Next is Natsuki's route. Her route is basically much more simpler in comparison to Sora's and Marika's, mainly revolving around her and Ryosuke getting to know one another as they both continue to spend time with each other, whether it's helping her out with photography work or learning more about Natsuki's work in the graduation album committee. Ryosuke will soon realize from Natsuki why making memories can be something truly memorable and special. Next up is Rikka's route, easily the longest route in my opinion. Rikka is a very reserved person and Ryosuke wants to get to know her more as she usually focuses on her work or basically walks away from the conversation. She's not a talkative person, but she loves to play the piano alone in the music room. As the two continue to hang out more, Ryosuke will learn more about Rikka's past and why she's scared of playing piano in front of anybody. But soon, Rikka's sister Megumi returns home, which causes Rikka to change emotionally. So, Ryosuke will have to step in and help her get back up and change as a person. Next up is Misa's route. Misa is Ryosuke's senpai and is the daughter of a man who owns the local town's aquarium that has sadly been closed down. Her only wish is to see the aquarium reopen one day, but for now, she's the president of the Naturalist Club, and Ryosuke is trying to convince her to also join the festival. So, as Ryosuke continues to spend time with her, he'll learn more about her past and will do her best to help make Misa's wish come true. Finally, we have Touko's route, easily the most dramatic route of them all. As I've said before, Touko is a transfer student, sorta like Ryosuke. She mainly likes to stay in the old school building and be alone instead of interacting with others. She does get pretty annoyed with Ryosuke's constant appearances, but she slowly grows to liking it, as it makes her feel less lonely. But soon, Ryosuke realizes the reason she doesn't want to interact with others along with her fear of commitment, and it's up to him to help her find happiness within friends and loved ones. Each route will play pretty similarly with each other, especially when it focuses on helping out with all the festival stuff, but I like how they still try to differentiate from each other. Similarities may pop up here and there, but all 6 routes offer a unique experience, especially when it tells the story of each heroine. Granted, there isn't a ton of character development in Hoshi Ori, only in like 2 specific routes, but it's really nice to get to know these heroines more as we continue on in their routes. It's cool to know their backstory, their lives, and their dreams. We get to know these characters more personally. Plus, in every route, you get to experience the festival in the most adorable and romantic way possible, with each girl celebrating or dressing up for the festival. Plus, it also sets up with the final chapter of each route, the after stories. After the school arc, you'll get to experience the after story of your specific heroine. You'll get to see what happens after Ryosuke and whichever heroine you choose to graduate with start working as adults. It's also a neat touch that the designs of the heroines change once you reach the after story. It's a cool way to signify that years have passed and these characters are getting older. And it's especially emotional once you completely finish their after story, as it paves the way for a satisfying conclusion to their story. The romance in Hoshi Ori is especially well done. It's extremely adorable when it focuses on the romance between Ryosuke and the specific heroine you went for. It sets the mood right, and it delivers a pretty satisfying execution when the confession scene happens. To be honest, the best way I can describe the romance is like eating super sweet candy, because that's what the romance in Hoshi Ori is. They're like candy. It's incredibly sweet to read through. But what I also love is that there are some pretty emotional moments and serious topics within some specific routes. Remember, Hoshi Ori doesn't focus on drama, it's mainly just romance in the end. But there are two specific routes that have a decent amount of drama, those being Rikka's route and Touko's route. Touko's route deals with the topics of loneliness and fear commitment, while Rikka's route deals with the topic of having a very low self-esteem, believing that you're not good enough to be someone you want to be. Again, Hoshi Ori doesn't mainly focuses on drama, but the small amount of drama it gives you is pretty well done, and it's great when it's executed. Ryosuke as a main character is great. Many protagonists in visual novels sometimes finds a girl, gets closer to her, and boom, they're dating. But Ryosuke feels different in my opinion. He genuinely cares about all the girls, and when there's a problem or situation, he does his best to find the solution to that problem. He's a person who wants to be able to support his friends and special someone, either with their dreams or making this festival amazing. He wants to hang out with them not because he wants to date them, but to get to know them better. He's bright and outgoing, but he has a strong sense of responsibility. Even he too has a dream of being an architect like his idol Azuma. So for me, I think Ryosuke does a great job in becoming a main character. But of course, we're ignoring the main theme of the visual novel, or I should say, the main idea Hoshi Ori is trying to tell to its readers. I'm sure a few readers probably ignored this part or didn't read this part at all, but Hoshi Ori's main goal is to capture the feeling of being young and enjoying the time you have left as a young kid before becoming adults, and this is told by Azuma, Ryosuke's idol. When Ryosuke starts to work for him part-time while going to school, Ryosuke continues to dream about how he wants to already work as an architect alongside Azuma, and how he wants to make that his main focus in life. But Azuma sees that as something that isn't necessary to focus on right now. He tells him that he's too young to start focusing on work, and that instead he should enjoy his years as a young person, make memories out there, and enjoy the time you have now before adulthood, because by then you'll feel like you missed out on a lot of memories in those past years. That's what Hoshi Ori's main goal is to its readers. It wants readers to feel like what it's like to be young again, enjoying time at high school, getting to know new people and making new friends, and finding our special someone in our young years. This is one of the main reasons why I love Hoshi Ori as a whole, because it sets an emotional but very realistic goal that can really hit readers in the feels. And finally, which route do I consider the best? Easily Rikka's route. It's much more personal, well developed, and executed in a very emotional way. Throughout her route, you can see how much she has changed. Out of all the heroines, she has the most character development. Before her route, she didn't like the company of the girls, or Ryosuke. She acted serious as well. But as Ryosuke continued to hang out with her more, she grew comfortable with him. She slowly started to see that she's getting more and more comfortable with not only Ryosuke, but the girls as well, becoming more talkative and expressing her emotions much more better than before, smiling and laughing more often. And this is only a small fraction of what happened in her route. Rikka's character development and the execution of the story and her route hands down make this my favorite route in Hoshi Ori as a whole. Hoshi Ori Yume Mirai received overwhelmingly positive reviews from readers alike, praising the characters, voice acting, music, art, routes, and romance. So, what are my overall final thoughts on this visual novel? It's absolutely fantastic. It wraps everything up so nice and neat and leaves you completely satisfied with the experience. I love the simplicity of the story. I think the heroines and the rest of the characters are wonderful. They are brimming with personality and charm. The art and character designs look beautiful. Plus, I just love how cozy and calm the whole atmosphere the novel gives out. The writing can be really funny or romantically strong. The music is phenomenal. It's easily recognizable and extremely memorable for me. Hoshi Ori was everything I've ever wanted in a visual novel at that time. A cute romantic high school story that has great romance and likable heroines. Back then, this was perfect. You're probably thinking, Puyo, what do you mean by back then? Well, I'll get to that when we get to that. But at this point, the video would be over, right? We already talked about Hoshi Ori and what it has to offer. There's no need to continue, right? Well, you're wrong. Before we move on, I want to talk about two other Hoshi Ori releases. First off, Hoshi Ori Yume Mirai Converted Edition, which is basically a console port of Hoshi Ori that was released on both PS4 and the PS Vita. Of course, there's no H scenes. However, in its place, we get exclusive scenes only made available in the Converted Edition. Plus, after completing the route, you can replay it at any time using a new menu that will allow you to read the VN from the beginning or from a specific route or even from the afterstory, which is pretty cool. Overall, this is a fantastic console port of Hoshi Ori. But then we have Hoshi Ori Yume Mirai Perfect Edition. Yep, I own Hoshi Ori. Since I have the box, here, let's take a look at what it has. First off, the box is smooth to touch, like this is a classy box. We got the main girls in the cover, and in the back, we get a little peeks at some of the CGs. Opening up the box, we get a technical manual, the user guide, the game itself coming in a whopping 2 discs, plus you also get the BGM soundtrack that was only available to get in the Perfect Edition. This is just a really cool thing to own, and it's nice to have a piece of Hoshi Ori in my collection. But that begs the question, why is this the Perfect Edition? This is basically the definitive way to play Hoshi Ori. You not only get the exclusive scenes from the console port, but the VN has been upgraded to 1080p HD, making the entire VN look crisper than ever before. Plus, Rikka and Touko's routes get exclusive epilogues. No one else, which is just funny to see. But yeah, I highly recommend reading the Perfect Edition, as this is basically the best way to play Hoshi Ori. Finally, I want to show off this. This is the Hoshi Ori Yume Mirai Vocal Collection, a collection of all the songs in Hoshi Ori, and it's phenomenal. The vocal songs are simply wonderful, with each song fitting each character extremely well, like Song of Love by Sasaki Sayaka. Another being That Summer's Treasure by Irie. Plus, Rikka on the front cover is such a nice touch. So if you're a fan of the vocal songs in Hoshi Ori, this is something you need to add to your collection. Now with that out of the way, I thought it would be nice to take a look at all the routes in Hoshi Ori and give it a storytelling style review. Basically explain the whole story of the route and give it my final thoughts. So of course, spoilers ahead. So with that being said, let's start off with my favorite heroine. Let's take a look at the story of Rikka's route. Let's go over Rikka's story. You'll first meet her as you head to your first day of class where you sit next to her. The only thing you can do is really introduce yourself as you sat down in your new seat. While he never got to know her name, Ryosuke wants to know her name because he wants to try and become friends with her. And soon, he asks for her name, Rikka Narusawa. A few days later, after joining the event committee, you'll walk around with Marika and Natsuki doing committee work. And soon, you hear the sounds of someone playing the piano. Heading to the music room, you see Rikka quietly playing the piano. Her fingers dance over the keys like a figure skater gliding over ice as you hear her music. Here you find out from Natsuki that Rikka's parents are both famous musicians, with her dad being a conductor and her mom being a pianist, as well as finding out that she has a younger sister who also plays piano. But behind her relaxed expression while she plays the piano, Ryosuke notices one thing behind that same expression. She occasionally seems sad. You'll soon talk with her for a bit due to Natsuki's and Marika's clumsiness, but most of her responses seem cold-hearted and short, almost like you're bothering her. And one question sticks in Ryosuke's mind: why is she playing piano after school alone? You'll soon find out from your friends that she barely ever talked with anyone last school year, and that she looks alone due to her family being overseas right now. In another day, Ryosuke finds Rikka in the same room eating lunch and decides to join her, but even as you sit down near her and start eating your lunch, she doesn't start any conversations. She's only eating silently, but luckily you are able to start a conversation with her lunch, and finding out that she usually makes her own lunches and is great at cooking. To which she says, "It wasn't something I consciously chose to become good at. It was just necessary." But Ryosuke was at least able to soften the quiet silence in the room. He does ask why she plays piano alone, but yet again, she gives a vague and cold-hearted answer to him. A few days pass and one day you forget to pack your math homework. So as Ryosuke walks back to the school, you once again hear the sounds of the piano being played. You check the music room to see Rikka playing again. She gives you yet again another cold-hearted response as you tell her that the school will be closing, so you let her resume playing. Only this time, you take a seat near the piano and listen to her music. However, due to this, you fall asleep. But luckily Rikka waited until you woke up, even though she doesn't want to admit that she did. So the two of you walk home together even if she didn't want you to walk her home. And even if you wanted to start a conversation with her, she'll quickly answer your question and end the conversation. However, she'll slowly give in and chat with Ryosuke, and soon you'll both part ways. Few days pass again and you invite the girls, specifically Marika, Sora, Natsuki, and Misa on a camping trip to deepen their friendship. As you head to the marketplace, you soon meet up with Natsuki as the two of you notice Rikka walking around the marketplace. However, Rikka will soon notice you and Natsuki following her, and Natsuki will ask Rikka if she wants to go to the camping trip with Ryosuke and the others. Of course, she turns her down even if Ryosuke tells her it could be fun since they could get to know each other more. However, on the day of the camping trip, she does show up, but only to give Ryosuke a bag containing a missing item for dinner they were supposed to cook. But just as soon as she could leave, the bus arrives and Ryosuke basically grabs Rikka's hand and takes her inside, and so she's now part of the trip. As everyone helps out with making curry, you help out Rikka with cooking the curry. Doing so makes Rikka talk with Ryosuke in a more casual way, leading to a nice talk with each other along with a small growth in the relationship. And as you play a game with the girls, where you guess what person, animal, or object is on your hidden drawing, you're finding it difficult to guess what your picture is. You can either choose three choices. Choosing Mozart will actually shock Rikka as the hidden drawing was a hand-drawn portrait of Mozart, which she drew. Plus, it'll make Rikka know that you're also a fan of classical music. Finally, before the common route ends, for the first time ever, you hear Rikka singing as she sits by the river kicking the water with her feet.
Na 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 na.
You also learn that her sister's name is Meguru, who is an up-and-coming pianist. And as the two of you have a nice conversation about her family and music in general, she accidentally slips and falls into the water. Even as she is completely wet, she laughs through it as Ryosuke tries to lighten the mood. And soon, with a warm smile, she says thank you to him. Until she is soon embarrassed by her revealing clothes due to the wetness of the water. It is here where you begin Rikka's route. Most of the main focus of her route revolves around Ryosuke wanting to continue to expand his relationship with her and get more closer to her. After seeing a simple picture of Rikka smiling, he slowly starts to grow feelings for her. Before he could turn in his committee report, Ryosuke once again sees Rikka in the music room once again. Although while Rikka seems relaxed, he finds it lonely that no one is there with her. While Ryosuke finds it difficult to understand if his feelings are love or friendship, he does have one goal: to make Rikka smile more often. He does ask Rikka if he wants to join the committee, but Rikka believes it's just because of him seeing how pitiful she looks when she's alone. She chooses to be alone. She chooses not to socialize. But Ryosuke says one thing that surprises Rikka. He's happy that she was able to enjoy the camping trip. And with that, Rikka will think about joining the committee. With the help of Natsuki, Ryosuke tries to get closer to Rikka. And here's where you learn a bit more about her. How when she was little, she usually just went home and practiced piano. She didn't have time to play or call a friend, but she isn't dissatisfied with this, as she chose to practice piano. How she is a pro at sewing, how she sometimes can't play certain songs, how she's a great cook. All the while, Rikka as well is very slowly growing feelings for him, even though she just wants to be alone. She's also as well socializing more and more with the girls. All the while, Ryosuke and his friends are preparing for the Tanabata festival. With each interaction, Rikka and Ryosuke's feelings for each other will grow and grow, often leading to embarrassing yet adorable moments. Even your friends will take notice of this slowly growing relationship. You'll also learn a bit more of her family as well, especially her mom and her sister, as she later fully joins the committee and helps out the concert team. Plus, you'll soon get to visit Rikka's home with all the girls while she'll lecture the gang about music. And you'll get a peek at her sister, Meguru, who tells Rikka that she's coming back. Although, Rikka herself seems to be off-put by this news. Soon, Ryosuke now understands that he's fallen in love with Rikka. And one day, when Rikka was looking down and sad, Ryosuke takes her to the beach and explains to her how the waves of the ocean always calms him down, and that it should help her calm herself down as well. Here is where you learn of Rikka's weaknesses, that she doesn't feel confident about her piano playing. And when Misa and Sora want Rikka to play piano in the festival, she feels that she doesn't have the right for that. She feels doubts. But Ryosuke tells her this: it's not about whether they expect something from you or not. What they want is your piano playing, pure and simple. He then holds his hand out for Rikka as they play in the water, where she smiles and laughs happily, forgetting any doubts or worries in this gorgeous CG, and accepting to play for Misa and Sora, with Ryosuke helping her throughout the festival. Later, Natsuki will talk with Rikka about Ryosuke. This scene overall confirms that Rikka has fallen in love with him. It's a very sweet scene as it shows how deep Rikka is with her feelings and how she's trying her best to stay calm, even going as far as to make a homemade lunch for Ryosuke. It's the little things that make these scenes adorable. But finally, after much resisting, and with the help of the girls, the two finally went out on a date. And as the date continues, Ryosuke finds out that it's her birthday today. So, along with the girls, they celebrate her birthday. It also leads to a little emotional yet very sweet scene where Rikka explains she hasn't had a birthday party in a long time, and how she never thought it would be this bright and happy. Finally, when it's all said and done, the girls soon left, leaving only Ryosuke and Rikka, with Ryosuke finally telling her that he likes her and giving Rikka a beautiful moonstone necklace as a gift for her birthday, which she happily accepts. The following chapters are basically just romantic fluff now that Ryosuke and Rikka are a full-on couple. You'll see how they truly love each other, how they experience their first kiss, how their dates will go, and of course, how they're going to unleash their sweet love physically. All the while, the festival is slowly coming together and is almost ready for launch. Soon, as the festival finally approaches, Rikka's little sister Meguru has returned home to perform at the festival. But as the festival talk continues, an idea pops up. Rikka is given the choice to perform a duet with her sister, but her reaction is the exact opposite of Meguru, and she says she wants to think about it. And this is where the drama begins. You slowly start to see why Rikka acted like herself in the beginning of the novel. Even Meguru knows the reason why Rikka doesn't want to play with her. As she says, it's because of me. Even Ryosuke can tell that Rika seems to be bothered by something. He asks her, but she deflects the question, with Ryosuke going so far as to ask her, "Am I not dependable enough for you?" Then, a hurricane hits Shionagi, leaving Rika alone in her home as Meguru is in Tokyo. And after getting a call from Rika that seems to sound like as if she's hiding something from him. And so, Ryosuke decides to do one thing: walk to Rika's home during the hurricane. Here is where you learn more about Rika's weaknesses. She believes she's weak, and she feels lonely and scared when she's alone. She now sees the importance of coming to know the joy of being connected with someone, and she wants to get rid of her miserable feelings, but she can't. Ryosuke then arrives to save Rika, while she happily cries at his arrival, thanking him for saving her. Here is where we learn Rika's backstory. She and Meguru had a dream, where they would become professional pianists and perform together. But for Rika, she loved to play because she liked to see people smile, but also explains that the pianist path grows difficult as you have to fight your way through the world of winners and losers. She would be placed higher than Meguru, but Meguru had talent that she didn't have. While she explains, you also get a peek at her past. You now see why she doesn't want Meguru to surpass her, and she doesn't want her to catch up. It's why you find out that she's envious to her sister. She then tells Ryosuke how Meguru finally surpassed her, and how she had to watch from the sidelines. Even if they played duos, she didn't want to play with her because she didn't want to drag Meguru down with her. She also explains how the judges would heavily criticize her, and one day she heard the comments, especially one comment: "There are things that you can never obtain, no matter how much you want them." After that, she stopped entering contests, and while Meguru tried to help Rika out, it just never worked out in the end. She tells Ryosuke, "I love Meguru, but I couldn't love her in regards to piano." This is also the reason why she didn't want to join Meguru overseas, and why she stayed here alone. Rika is afraid that the audience will look at her the same way the disappointing judges looked at her, and how they might compare her negatively to Meguru. She's scared, but she can't give up on piano, because she loves it. Ryosuke then explains how he went through a similar fate with his architect studies. He failed and failed, but that didn't want him to give up. He also tells her it's thanks to her that he's now a fan of music and piano. Soon, thanks to her explanation and with the help of the girls giving confidence and strength to Rika, she decides to play a duo performance with her sister. And so, after days of practicing with Meguru, the day of the performance finally arrives along with the festival. But as the festival continues smoothly, Rika soon reveals that she wants to cancel her performance with Meguru. Her reason is that she could play with Meguru again whenever they have time. But after talking with a band member, she says there are people who might have to part ways, and she wants those people to take it to the stage. While the girls and Meguru are completely against this, Ryosuke accepts it as he says that's just how strongly Rika feels about this. But while he respects her feelings, he doesn't want to give up on her. So, with the help of his friends and help from the townspeople, they were able to convince the teachers to let Rika and Meguru play one last show. And so, the two finally do their long-awaited duo performance. They both happily dance alone in the stillness of their world, like a shooting star that's fallen down from the heavens. The two cry up joy together as they play their song. After the performance, we get one last CG of Ryosuke and Rika enjoying the festival while the two talk about their future. But they both agree on one thing that will continue on in the future. They'll both still be in love with each other. We now move on to Rika's after story. To summarize the after story, this is basically more romantic fluff with both Ryosuke and Rika. The two are now fully grown adults, having graduated from their school and now move in together. Rika has now returned to study music and wants to work towards becoming a professional pianist again, while Ryosuke is still focusing on his architect studies. You'll see how their love continues to grow strong and how supportive they are to each other. And it all leads up to their marriage and her big performance. Before playing her last song, she shares one last speech before she plays her song. She thanks all the girls for meeting her and believing in her. She thanks her parents and sister for cheering her on. And she thanks Ryosuke for everything that he's done for her. supporting her, and what she says, "I have been allowed to walk a very wonderful path." She concludes her speech with one last announcement. She shares to the audience that she's pregnant with her and Ryosuke's baby. And so, she plays her song as the credits roll. And that song is the same song you've been hearing throughout the entire route. And it's called To a Precious Someone. As the credits finish, the final scene of Marika's story is a picture of her mom, sister, and herself practicing piano. Soon, it transitions to a picture of Rikka and her two twin daughters, Ayane and Sakane, playing the piano, with Rikka teaching them like how her mom used to teach her, while Ryosuke is in the background making dinner and explaining what happened after the performance. And the route ends with Rikka saying that she is happy with everything that has happened to her life, and that she's thankful of meeting Ryosuke. Now that's how the route would have ended in the original version of the visual novel, but in the perfect edition, the after story continues. Very shortly though, as it's basically, again, more romantic fluff between the two. You also learn that Rikka is the creator of, quite possibly, the most iconic song in the Hoshi Ori score soundtrack. And that song is Wish Upon a Star. And the route officially ends with a CG of Ryosuke hugging Rikka on the same beach they had their first kiss, with Rikka telling Ryosuke, "Thank you for giving her such a wonderful life and meeting her." And that was Rikka's route. And I'm not gonna lie when I say this, but this is one of the best routes in any visual novel that I've ever read. Rikka's route was simply incredible to read through. And you guys already know I love these types of visual novels and routes, so this was simply a treat for me to read. The best thing about her route is the character development of Rikka. Throughout the entire route, you can see how much of a difference Rikka acts and behaves from the beginning of the novel to the end of the novel. She was this cold-hearted and very reserved person who didn't want to socialize and wanted to be alone. Any interaction with her would basically be nothing to her. She couldn't smile or express herself to others. That isn't until Ryosuke comes into her life. He was able to drag her out of her lonely corner and into a bright world. With his help, his words, and his support, Rikka slowly started to express herself more and socialize with the girls. And also, and more importantly for Ryosuke, she was able to smile more often. And once the two finally became a couple, she is now much more happier than ever before. And even if she goes back to her old roots when her sister arrives at the festival, Ryosuke goes to comfort her and support her when she needed it the most, helping her get over her strong worries and play with her sister. Now fully breaking away from her worries, now you see how relived, talkative, and most of all, happy she is now. It's an extremely satisfying thing as you read her route, and it makes all the effort of the characters worth it. And she's now a much more open person. Another thing I like about her route was the drama and the themes. Rikka's route deals with the theme of self-actualization, as she wants to achieve her dream of being a piano player, and the novel shows how a single review can hurt or damage a person's dream, as well as believing that someone is better than you. The drama is executed greatly, and it fits her character extremely well. It's also not too long or too short. It's the perfect balance of drama that is emotional, yet it satisfies you with its resolution. The drama also shows how far Rikka grew as a character. Not only is she choosing to following her dream, but she's doing whatever it takes to achieve it. Also, the execution of this route is beautiful. Much of the route knows when to take it romantic, when to take it seriously, and when to take it emotionally. And when each new scene or new part of the story is shown, it knows how to execute it well. Ryosuke in this route is a perfect example of how I believe he's one of the best MCs in any visual novel I've ever read. A true example of a boy who genuinely cares, supports, and loves his friends and his special someone. He goes as far as to walk in a hurricane to save his girlfriend from her feelings. He not only wants to help her get through her feelings, but to help her achieve her dream. Rikka's voice actor, played by Ono Ryoko, did an absolutely phenomenal job with her role as Rikka, delivering a heartfelt and passionate performance, not only showing the personality of Rikka, but also bringing this character to life. She's one of my favorite VAs, and I highly recommend checking her out in other roles, as she plays Amane from If My Heart Had Wings and Karen from Making Lovers, both of which she did an amazing job with their roles. Rikka's vocal songs are simply phenomenal. To a Precious Someone is one of my favorite songs in the vocal collection. It's a song that really makes you cry but also smile as you view your young life and see the things that made you happy. It's a perfect example for Rikka's character as you see how her character changed throughout the story. And for her after story, it's simply beautiful. And like I said before, these roots especially are my favorite. One that details how the future of these two are like and seeing what has changed now that they're full-on adults. The romantic fluff is the cherry on top for me, as that is always a joy for me to see. Plus, with the new scenes added in the Perfect Edition, as well as the expanded after story, what they've done is something truly special. And of course, it satisfied me completely. And the final shot of Rikka and her twin daughters, as you see her talking with them while practicing piano, to me, it really was an extremely emotional, yet satisfying way to end her route. Now fully happy with how her life turned out. Rikka's route is simply one of a kind. It's a route I never thought I would be in love so easily and quickly. From its beautiful music, well-executed story and themes, satisfying conclusion, and most of all, a perfect example of great character development. Rikka Narasawa is my favorite character in Hoshi Ori, and this is the story of a ridiculously awkward, incredibly kind, demanding crybaby who gets lonely all too easily. She sought out connections, she took their hands, and was able to form a ring. That's the kind of story this is. Whether it's the romance, drama, or development, nothing will ever compare to her. To me, she is the perfect example of perfection. Rikka's route is still my favorite route in Hoshi Ori, and originally she was my #1 favorite visual novel heroine of all time. So now you want to know what happened? Well, more on that later. So let's just move on and focus on the story of the sweet childhood friend. Let's take a look at the story of Marika's route. Ryosuke will first meet Marika after his visit to his new school. She stands outside his house, but as he gets closer, she's scared by his arrival and runs away. During his visit to the local pool, he'll notice Marika there teaching kids how to swim. As he's helping her with relaxing the kids by singing the song, he notices that both of them are singing the same song. And soon, they both remember each other as they both smile while remembering their childhood. The two continue to talk as Marika helps out with the kids. And it's here we learn that the two known each other ever since elementary school, and that Marika had an asthma problem since she was overwhelmingly frail in elementary. But she said she's been getting better and better as she gets older. She tells Ryosuke that she was hired as a part-timer for a swim class, due to her spending a lot of time in the class as well as her good teaching nature with kids. She also tells him that she knew he was coming back from her mom, but she was too nervous to say hi since she believes that Ryosuke doesn't remember her. The two continue to talk as Marika invites Ryosuke to dinner with her family as a way to welcome him back, although tensions rise due to Marika's father joining them, but Marika is there to calm him down. Here is where Ryosuke continues to see how different Marika is now. He's slowly starting to see that his childhood friend has changed in a lot of ways. She soon escorts him home, and before she leaves, she says to him, "Welcome home." We then enter a flashback scene where Ryosuke first meets Marika, where she saves her from an asthma attack and learns about the problems Marika is going through. So he decides to help her out with whatever he can do as he becomes her first friend. At many points in the comic book, you'll continue to see flashbacks like this that detail the growing friendship between Marika and Ryosuke and how they became true friends. The next day, the two walk to school and Marika tells Ryosuke that she'll give him a tour of the school during their lunch break. Of course, Natsuki forcefully joins on the tour, but we also get introduced to Suichi, Ryosuke's other childhood friend who he met with Marika. The school day ends with Marika showing Ryosuke around town and letting him know of the upcoming Tanabata festival that's coming up soon in August. and in another day, they look back at their work in elementary school where Marika finds one goal that she has still left to complete, helping out Ryosuke with any problem he's dealing with. Soon, an important flashback appears, detailing Ryosuke visiting Marika one last time before he leaves Shionagi. She's sad that he's leaving her, so to cheer her up, and with the upcoming meteor shower that's happening, she tells her to make wishes, and in the end, he didn't know which wish came true. Later on, both Ryosuke and Marika join the event committee to help out with the festival, and soon, the planned camping trip with the rest of the girls begins. You approach Marika to help her out as well as learning about how passionate she is in trying to make the food turn out good for the girls, as well as Ryosuke, well, making unintentional efforts to Marika. Soon, we finally start Marika's route. The beginning of the route revolves around Ryosuke and Marika helping out both Misa and Sora's clubs with creating a festival idea that combines both the sea and the skies, a planetarium mixed with an aquarium. The idea is given the green light, and it's up to getting the idea into fruition. So, in order to set up the aquarium, Ryosuke, Marika, and Misa will catch some fish for the tanks. Of course, this leads to more interactions with Ryosuke and Marika, where you'll soon start to see Marika's feelings for Ryosuke. And as they arrive at the place to catch some fish, a pair of children arrive to help out with the three with catching fish, with Marika being the one to instruct them. As they continue to work for the festival, it's here where you start to see a pattern forming. Ryosuke, even after many years have passed, still thinks Marika as a frail person. You have to remember that he still thinks of her this way ever since he left his hometown. He didn't know what happened after that. So, for him, he still thinks Marika has problems with her health, even if Marika denies it. He becomes overprotective for her. The second day of catching more fish has arrived. As Misa ventures out to study more of the area, Ryosuke and Marika are left alone. Here is where you see a moment of peace between the two. But it's also where Ryosuke looks back at his childhood and his friendship with Marika, how the two never had this much fun due to Marika's health at the time. For Marika, all she wishes is for the festival to be a success and have a fun summer, along with other wishes that later turn out to be wishes that she never accomplished when she was little. She never visited the festival, nor watched a meteor shower when she was little due to her health problems. But now, she wants to accomplish those wishes. Ryosuke still doesn't believe that her asthma problems are gone, so he's still skeptical. He still thinks that she's a frail person. But Marika continues to tell him that she's okay, that there's no reason to worry. But Ryosuke still doesn't believe her, so most of the time, he's acting very overprotective for her, thus creating an awkward atmosphere for the two, as they wait for Misa to return. Later on, we get one final flashback. Ryosuke gets Marika a tanzaku during the Tanabata festival to write wishes. He then takes a look at one wish that Marika made, and it made his heart froze. The wish that she made says, "I wish I could grow up." So for Ryosuke's last wish, he writes, "I wish for Shinozaki to become a healthy adult." And that's where the flashback ends. The third day of catching fish is here. Not a lot of fish are seen, so Misa and Ryosuke investigate another area of the ocean while Marika stays behind with the children. Here is where Misa confronts Ryosuke about his worries for Marika. She describes her view of their friendship as a deep bond, one that goes beyond just friendship. Ryosuke tells Misa that he still thinks Marika as the same like before when they were kids. He can't get that image out of his head. He's always worried for her. It's the reasons as to why he wants the festival to be perfect, to let go of his worries. They are then interrupted by something that's happening where Marika is. A girl fell into the ocean, and Ryosuke rushes to see if it was Marika, injuring himself in the process. However, it turns out that one of the children fell into the ocean and Marika saves her, ending Ryosuke's worries. But Ryosuke's injury from falling on the rocks worsens as it turns out that he fractured his bone. The next day, Ryosuke stays at home to recover from his injury while Marika takes care of him, leading to some cute moments, as Ryosuke recalls what happened the day before and tells her how she used to be before. Once again, Marika states that she's fine now, that her asthma is all better. Soon, Marika explains that swimming was how she was controlling her asthma, how it also got her more confident and more positive about things in general, a clear difference to when she was little. Marika knows that it's not guaranteed that it will happen again, but she'll bring it under control. The reason as she wanted to get better was because of Ryosuke, because she wanted to make good memories with him. That's why being with him like this is like a dream for Marika. Ryosuke soon realizes that she really has changed ever since they said goodbye when they were kids. She's gotten stronger and became much more positive. She's no longer the frail girl she was before. And so, he accepts it. But now, Ryosuke is soon starting to have feelings for Marika after that talk. And so, he invites Marika to hang out and have fun once they both finish exams. Soon, that day comes. Ryosuke's leg has gotten better and is now ready to have fun with Marika. They head to the beach as they continue to bond with each other, with Marika being happy that she can hang out wherever with Ryosuke instead of being stuck in her bed. But soon, Ryosuke finally decides what his feelings to Marika are. And before Marika can leave, Ryosuke stops her, and finally, he confesses to her that he likes her. Marika's reaction? She cries. Although Ryosuke thought at first she rejected him, but the tears were happy tears, since she was surprised. She soon reveals her feelings for him as well, saying that she had these feelings ever since they were kids. And the chapter ends with their first kiss. The following chapters of the school arc of Marika's route is basically wholesome, romantic, and cute moments between Ryosuke and Marika. Now happily a couple, you'll soon start to see how strong their love for each other is as they continue to support each other. How Ryosuke tries his best to be accepted by Marika's father, how they'll go on dates with each other, and of course, how they'll unleash their sweet love for each other. All the while, they prepare for the festival. In the final chapters of the school arc, the Tanabata festival is in full swing. After the success of their idea for the festival, Marika and Ryosuke relax as they enjoy the festival, with Marika doing a karaoke performance to the whole school, with Ryosuke finally letting go of the past Marika and focusing all on her present self. Soon, Ryosuke talks to Marika's father as he talks about his past, with Ryosuke learning that Marika was actually born in Tokyo and not Shionagi. Marika's father explains the difficulties they had with Marika's asthma, as well as why they moved to Shionagi, because the air was good and that they could have support from their families to help Marika. It's an emotional scene that showcases how supportive the family is with helping Marika have a good life. For her father, she's his only daughter, and he wants her to live a happy life. So, Ryosuke promises him that he will make her happy. The school arc ends with Ryosuke and Marika walking around and enjoying the festival. Then, the two talk about their future, how Ryosuke wants to continue working to be an architect and Marika wanting to be a nursery school teacher. Finally, Ryosuke tells Marika that he wants us to always be together, with Marika happily asking the same thing. We now move on to Marika's after story. To basically summarize, it's similar to Rikka's after story, most specifically the romantic parts. Ryosuke will be taking his exams to become a first-class architect, while Marika is now working as a preschool teacher. The whole after story is filled to the brim with wholesome romantic moments. Between Marika and Ryosuke, you'll see how their love will continue to grow strong as the days pass by, and how Marika will support Ryosuke as he slowly reaches his dream goal. It all leads up to their wedding, as you witness Marika's speech, one of the most emotional scenes in the entire visual novel, where Marika gives thanks to everyone that has supported her throughout her life, her friends, her family, and of course, Ryosuke. And most importantly, it all leads up to the birth of their child. The route officially ends with both Ryosuke and Marika looking up at the stars as they wait for the meteor shower to appear, along with their newborn daughter, who they both named Mirai. As the meteor shower begins, the couple, along with Mirai, make one last wish together, for the happy times to go on forever, while the ending song starts playing, that song being Song of Love. And that was Marika's route. So for me, she was the first route I read through, and I honestly can't think of a better way to begin this phenomenal visual novel than with her root. Her root was just pure, wholesome perfection. This root is how my love for Hoshi Ori first began. The best thing about this root is the story. It's a pure love story about two people reconnecting with each other after not being together for a long time, finally reuniting, and soon a fire will ignite in their hearts, as the two will soon fall in love with each other. This is a simple and overdone story, but it completely works in this scenario. Ryosuke will soon see how Marika has changed ever since he last saw her when he was young. She's no longer a fragile and weak girl from before. She's a strong and caring person who deeply cares about the well-being of her friends and Ryosuke. Change can happen, and sometimes that change might be better than you expected. But as you continue reading her story, there's this charm to it that simply makes you smile, laugh, and cry. It's a story that was extremely well executed, delivering a ton of cute scenes that were both wholesome and deeply emotional. During these scenes, Ryosuke will soon fall in love with Marika, allowing her wish to be granted, as she fell in love with him way before they met again. For these types of stories, you don't have to go all out and bring out something intense or heartbreaking. Sometimes the best thing to do is to deliver a cozy, slow-paced, and heartwarming romantic story. These stories are not only enjoyable, but can deliver an extremely satisfying payoff for the readers who choose to read these longer stories. I absolutely love Marika's character. She is such a wonderful character who is just so likable. She acts like a caring mother who only wants the best for her child, paying reference to her good handling with kids. She's not one of those childhood friends who is overly obsessed with trying to get the main character to like her, like Yukino from Hatsukoi or even Chiho from Princess Evangel. For her, it's up to Ryosuke to decide whether or not he's in love with Marika. And choosing another girl will not make Marika jealous, but she'll congratulate the girl who Ryosuke chose. She's already satisfied with seeing Ryosuke again. That alone makes her happy. She never gets extremely mad throughout the story. Her calm and peaceful attitude is what makes her, well, her. It's what tells us what kind of character she is. And to me, she's a caring and sweet person who only wants to see others be happy. She doesn't argue or yell. She tries to find the best solution in order to make someone happy once again. Ryosuke once again showcases how he is simply an amazing main character, how happy he is with reuniting with his childhood friend, but not only that, he genuinely cares about her. Even if he is stuck in the past and thinks that Marika is still frail or weak, he grows to understand that she isn't the same like before. People can change, and he will realize that soon in her roots, and once he does, he fully accepts it. There was no drama at all in this route, which definitely fits the wholesome atmosphere of the route. Rika's route definitely made sense to have drama, but for Marika, she doesn't really need drama at all. Everything works great without it, as it's still executed in a very satisfying and calming way. It's one of the reasons why I like this route a lot, that it's nothing but pure wholesome moments. The vocal songs in Marika's route are outstanding. The song at the end of her school arc, To Your Town, was popping with its vibrant, colorful, and playful beat, showcasing her playful and caring personality, but her ending song, Song of Love, takes the crown as it's not only vibrant and beautiful, it's emotional, as it's a way to signify how far Ryosuke and Marika came since they reunited with one another, as well as showing the bright and wonderful future the two will have. Marika's VA, I'm sorry I pronounced this wrong, Kei Maeda, did a phenomenal job with capturing Marika's soft and kind-hearted personality, delivering such cute lines and playful banter throughout the entire route. You should also check out Maeda's other great roles in other VNs, like Rina from Furuaraba, and surprisingly for me, Etika from Tokyo Necro. Marika Shinozaki is a wonderful character, from her calm and caring personality to her lighthearted, simple, and pure love story. She not only gave us a wonderful route about reuniting with a long-lost friend, but she also showcased that there was perfection to be found in her route. Not only delivering a good route, but a fantastic childhood friend route. This was the story of a strong, caring, likable, and adorable childhood friend who wanted to see people smile. While she was frail when she was a child, she grew to be a strong, caring person who waited for her childhood friend to return. And soon, her wish was granted as Ryosuke returns. And as the two continued to spend time with each other, the two held each other's hands like a couple until they formed into a ring, as well as giving birth to a child. That's the kind of story this is. Whether it's the romance, personality, or beautiful story, she was simply the perfect way to start my journey with Hoshi Ori, and I couldn't have asked for a better route to start off with. Again, Marika's route is basically like eating candy. Sweet, sugary, and cute. So with that being said, let's move on to the story of the energetic photographer. Let's take a look at the story of Natsuki's route. Ryosuke will soon meet Natsuki in a rather cliche scene. Natsuki was trying to capture a picture of something, however she loses her balance and falls, with Ryosuke barely catching her as the two fall, with Ryosuke accidentally grabbing her boob along the way. However, Natsuki doesn't care, as she also believes it was an accident since he was trying to save her. She tells Ryosuke that she was trying to take a picture for the graduation album, where she tells him that she is a member of the Grad Alb Committee, where she and other members' goals is to take the 3 years students spend at the school and distill them into photographs. Each photo they take will showcase the students' good memories and are placed into the graduation album and are later given to the graduating students. These graduation albums are special. They are created by students for students, faithfully depicting good memories of school. For Natsuki, the photos she takes are, and I quote, a gift from now to the future. On his first day at his new school, Ryosuke finds out she is in the same class that he's in, and already she's taking pictures. She then finally introduces herself by her full name, Natsuki Segawa. She asks Ryosuke if he would like a tour of the school, however he politely declined since Marika was going to give him a tour. But that doesn't stop Natsuki from joining in on the fun, so she tags along with Marika and Ryosuke on their tour. It's here where you get such a great example of Natsuki's strong, playful personality. She's a very lively person who's extremely outgoing and is always looking for fun. She usually likes to keep the fun going and also tries to see things in a positive way while also trying to always stay positive, even if she wants to get more memorable pictures for the grad album. This is where Ryosuke also learns about the event committee and reunites with his good friend Suichi. Oh, and by the way, in the end, they never really gave Ryosuke a full tour of the school. Throughout the common route, you can really see how Natsuki is good with capturing memories for the graduation album. She thinks it's great that people are participating because that alone can bring so many good memories for the students to remember. She's also very observant and can tell the personality of a person, even going as far as to spy on Rikka from far away, with Ryosuke tagging along even if he didn't really want to. A single photograph has to be in the moment, with the mood, the subject's impression, and the ambience oozing out. Well, according to Natsuki, that is. During the camping trip, Ryosuke helps out Natsuki with lighting the fire as she doesn't know how to light the fire well. As he helps her out and accidentally inhales the smoke of the fire, he asks her why she even volunteered to light the fire if she knew that she would get dirty and inhale the bad smoke. She explains to him that she volunteered because she thought it would be fun, and also she didn't want the other girls to either be covered in smoke or coughing. But also, she didn't want to cook because she's not a great cook either. We're now officially in Natsuki's route. The route begins with Ryosuke helping Natsuki out by handing out photos of the camping trip to the rest of the girls. This will soon make Natsuki ask Suichi if she could borrow Ryosuke so that he could become her assistant with taking pictures for the graduation album. And with that, Ryosuke begins to help her out with taking pictures for the grad album. But Ryosuke and Natsuki will also help out Sora's astronomy club and Misa's naturalist club, since both clubs want Natsuki to take photos of both wildlife and constellations for the displays, which only makes Natsuki more happy due to someone wanting her for her photography skills. You'll also learn that many girls ask Natsuki with capturing pictures of some boys for no cost, prompting Ryosuke to ask Natsuki if, any girl has asked her for a picture of him, to which Natsuki replies with, nope. While assisting Natsuki, Ryosuke will soon learn the importance of photography, even learning about why it's important to take photos that seem unnecessary. Even Natsuki will teach Ryosuke how to handle and take pictures with an actual camera, with the occasional unintentional 4D. At one point in the route, Natsuki will explain why photos are amazing. It's because they not only let the past leave its mark, but they can even connect to the future. They're the embodiment of people's determination. While she says that she doesn't remember how she got into photography, the reason she wants to keep doing photography is because she wants to take photos of anything and everything she sees and feels, with a goal of finding a photo that'll make everyone's wishes come true. There's a really sweet moment in the route where Ryosuke helps out Natsuki with taking pictures of a sparrow feeding their children. She explains to him how sparrows live a shorter lifespan and how capturing these moments, even the small ones, can be truly something special as it captures a story. Natsuki later finds that she is not satisfied with the photos she took for the Naturalist Club, but can't seem to know what the problem is. After Ryosuke takes a look at the photos, he explains to her that maybe the photos are missing their true aspect, showcasing the beauty of life. That alone makes Natsuki realize what she was missing, so the two return to the beach to recapture more photos. Of course, while this happens, more unintentional flirting between the two happens, which only causes their relationship to grow more and more. The topic of Ryosuke finding out if a girl wanted pictures of him is brought up again, and Natsuki asks him what would happen if it did. Ryosuke tells her that he doesn't mind. However, that makes Natsuki feel sad, and soon she leaves the room with a sad mood, as Ryosuke, Marika, and Misa are confused as to what happened. The next day, Natsuki asks Ryosuke if she can take a picture of him, realizing that a girl wanted a picture of him. So she takes a picture of him for this girl, but that only makes Natsuki even sadder. And throughout the day, Ryosuke soon sees that Natsuki has never once smiled today, which bothers him. He's seen the many emotions this girl can make, but never once this depressed look. Ryosuke then asks Natsuki what happened that made her sad, but she ignores him. So with the help of the rest of the cast, he finds Natsuki outside. He asks her what happened to the photo she took of him that she gave to the girl, to which she tells him that the girl liked it. But seeing her expression, you can tell that she's bothered by it. Then Ryosuke now asks her if she can get a picture for him, which surprises her, but nonetheless, she sadly agrees. But unbeknownst to her, Ryosuke takes out his phone and opens up the camera app and takes a picture of her, which of course confuses Natsuki, but now makes her realize that the girl Ryosuke wanted a picture of was her all along, with Ryosuke finally asking her to be his girlfriend. Before she gives her answer, she reveals to Ryosuke that she was the girl that wanted a picture of him, with the reason she was acting all depressed was because of Ryosuke saying it was okay for her to give the photo away. After that, the two finally become lovers, with Natsuki and Ryosuke taking a picture signifying the start of their relationship. And what's cute is that the picture will stay in your photo album, which is such an adorable touch. The rest of the route is basically what you would already expect from the past routes we talked about. You'll see Ryosuke and Natsuki continue to work their way to complete collecting pictures for both the Naturalist Club and Astronomy Club in time for the Tanabata Festival. And all the while, you'll see their relationship as lovers continue to grow more and more as the days pass by. How they'll interact with each other, how they'll experience their first date together, how they'll share their first kiss, and of course, how they'll make sweet love together for the first time. Soon, the day of the festival arrives, with Natsuki thanking Ryosuke for being by her side, because without him, she would have never gotten the perfect pictures for the clubs. As the festival continues, Ryosuke and Natsuki go around and look at both the Naturalist and Astronomy Club's exhibits, where Natsuki is at awe by what she sees. She's amazed because she is so happy to see her photos making others smile, now finally having a goal for her future. Natsuki continues to take pictures throughout the festival, and once she's done, she and Ryosuke can now have fun and enjoy all that it has to offer. The final day of the festival arrives, and Natsuki and Ryosuke goes to see the Tanabata photography contest, where Natsuki submitted a picture. The two then see the picture she submitted, that being a beautiful star-filled night sky. While it didn't win grand prize, it was able to win the judge's special award. In one final scene, Natsuki thanks Ryosuke for showing her many things throughout the past months, and wishing that they'll continue to love each other in the future. We finally now move on to Natsuki's after story. We now see Ryosuke and Natsuki now as adults. Ryosuke graduated university from the architecture department, is now a full-time worker, while Natsuki went on to study at vocational school for photography to learn more things on a more serious level, where she is now working as an assistant for a female photographer, learning professional photography techniques. The two are now living together in their own home and are planning to get married very soon. As the after story continues, you'll see how they continue to love and support each other as the days pass by. Soon, in the final parts of the after story, Natsuki is hosting a class reunion at their old school, and everyone is coming back, including the rest of the girls and Shuichi. And the day of the class reunion arrives. As everyone is having a fun time, Ryosuke and Natsuki make an announcement to the guests, with Natsuki asking them to all come close to take a big picture together, signifying the strong reunion they all had the time to come and have fun, connecting the past and the present to the future. However, Shuichi steps on stage and stops Natsuki and Ryosuke from stepping off it. saying that there's one person missing from the graduation album, one that is rarely seen in the album, and he points to Natsuki. He continues on by saying that she took the time and effort to bring all these memories together into one album, sacrificing her chance to be remembered. So, to say thank you to her, they all have one last surprise for Natsuki. They all plan a surprise wedding for her and Ryosuke. And as the after story comes to a close, Ryosuke reminds Natsuki of what she told him. How her photos don't just connect times together, they connect people together too. As the screen fades to white, Ryosuke and Natsuki lean in for a kiss, as the sounds of a camera snapping for a picture is heard in the background. And soon, the credits roll as the ending song plays. That song being That Summer's Treasure. And that was Natsuki's story. Personally, I fell in love with Natsuki more and more as I continued reading her route. To put it simply, this route was just a simple romantic comedy story. Unlike Marika and Rikka's roots that we talked about in the past episodes, where their roots had both more personal experiences, Rikka's route had a more emotional story, while Marika's route had a more slow, heartwarming story. Natsuki's story was more fast-paced and comedic, as it tries to capture the playful nature of the character. Speaking of which, I honestly believe Natsuki herself was basically the highlight of the route. Usually the highlight of each route would be the story. However, Natsuki's playful and outgoing personality and character is what made me absolutely enjoy her route. You wouldn't really get the same fun feeling with the other girls, only from Natsuki. She's a character that's easy to talk to and fun to be around with. She's a kind, caring, hilarious, and smart person who is extremely passionate about photography, wanting to show how important photos can be for many people, both for nostalgic reasons and future reasons. She definitely reminded me of another character that I absolutely love, that has a similar personality as her. But I think that's a story for another time. Natsuki's VA, Aiko Okubo, did a stellar job with bringing Natsuki's character to life. She also voiced She Who Shall Not Be Named in Hatsukoi 101, which in my opinion was not a good choice for her, but her role for Natsuki was perfect, again, delivering such a playful and outgoing personality to her. You should also check out Okubo's other roles as well, such as Dorothy from Chrono Clock and Akiko from Poltot's Onofura. Once again, Ryosuke proves himself to be an amazing main character in Natsuki's route. The more and more I read these routes, the more I believe he's a perfect example of how to do a main character right for these types of visual novels. He's a caring person who focuses on not only his dreams, but his girlfriends as well. An extremely supportive and loving main character who only focuses on the good aspects and how to get past a situation. Like I said before, the story is plainly simple, but this type of story works for a character like Natsuki. You don't have to add a dramatic backstory or a heartbreaking moment in the story. All you might need is some romantic comedy goodness, and you got yourself a fantastic and hilarious route to read. This is one of those routes that's basically accessible to anybody. It's easy to go through and it delivers an overall lovable experience. And again, there's no drama, as the main focus is the romantic comedy aspect of Ryosuke and Natsuki's relationship. You can already tell once you start her route that the tone is more playful and vibrant. There's never any moment where you feel sad or upset in the route, as it continues to deliver this uplifting and good spirit as you read the route. And the vocal songs are absolutely fantastic. The first vocal song, Just Love the Moment, is great, as it captures well the essence of Natsuki's playful nature. But the ending vocal song, That Summer's Treasure, is a masterpiece of a song that is on par with the other vocal ending songs, like To a Precious Someone and Song of Love. It's an energetic and lively song that signifies the outgoing and strong positive vibes of Natsuki's personality. Natsuki Segawa is an extremely fun character, from her playful and energetic personality to her simple yet hilarious romantic comedy style story. Not only did I find this route to be very hilarious and satisfying, it once again proved that we were able to find perfection within her story. a story that showcased the importance of photos and the strong and nostalgic memories it contains within them. This was the story of a cute, loud, outgoing, and playful photographer who took pictures with one goal in mind: to make all the viewers who look at her pictures smile, while also showcasing how strong these memories of the past can heavily affect the many people in the future. Natsuki's route is definitely the most fun route you can have, and not gonna lie, it probably has one of the most heartwarming and real age scenes I've ever read. I can't believe I actually said that. I'm not gonna go into too much detail, but simply put, it was their first time doing it and they both handled it very maturely. Anyways, let's move on to the story of our fellow lonely transfer student. Let's take a look at the story of Touko's route. You first meet Touko when you, Marika, and Natsuki start helping the event committee. Ryosuke notices an old building in the background and heads over there to take a look. However, he can't get the doors to open. Soon, a student enters the building using a key, and Ryosuke enters the building and finds her in a classroom playing with her key. You then find out she's a transfer student, just like you. It's also due to the fact that her uniform is different, being from the last school she went to. You learn that she also doesn't have permission to be in the building, however she just doesn't care. She tells Ryosuke that, "Don't you think it's natural to want to bend the rules when you're young?" She then tells her name, Touko Yukimura, and tells Ryosuke that he's welcome to come back into the building, but only if she's there. You encounter Touko again as she talks with the softball club's president. You also learn from Marika and Natsuki that she doesn't talk with her classmates and that none of the girls have ever had a conversation with her. Touko then joins the group as she rejects the invitation to the softball club, and she tells the gang that there's always a ton of people who want her to join the club, however she rejects all of them. As she talks to the group, she always looks back at the old building. Her face itself looks sad as she looks back at it. In another encounter with Touko, you see her just walking around aimlessly. You learn that she doesn't have any friends at all, jokingly saying that if the people she says hi to count as friends. You both exchange contact info and later find out that she's barely ever used her phone, only for calls for her family, and that she's really bad at using it as well. Later on, as the day of the camping trip gets closer, Ryosuke calls Touko if she would like to join the trip. However, she doesn't pick up, so he leaves her a voice message. Luckily, as he walks back home, you see her talking to a cat in a really cute way. Well, until you ruin the nostalgic feeling. You tell Touko about the upcoming camping trip that's going to happen tomorrow, and that he wants to invite her to come along. However, Touko says no, as she says that she's the kind of person that just does whatever alone, as well as saying that she wouldn't be any kind of useful if she showed up. Even after calling her one more time, she says no. The day of the camping trip arrives, and as the girls and Ryosuke are about to start making curry, they find out they have no rice. So Ryosuke calls Touko, and while she doesn't sound interested, she agrees to come and bring the rice. But she also asks Ryosuke to help her find a way to stop all the club presidents from asking her to join some clubs. So she does arrive with the rice, however extremely exhausted due to the weight of the bag. As the girls do their own thing to make the curry, Ryosuke goes to help out Touko with her work. Touko gets annoyed as she thought her job would be less exhausting, however that didn't turn out to be the case. As you finally learn how to cook the rice, Touko leads the work for you as she explores the area. It's definitely one of the more shorter interactions during the camping trip where you don't really learn much about her. Here is where you begin Touko's route. You find her in the hallways and thank her for joining him and the girls on the camping trip along with getting the rice. She tells Ryosuke that it was a good experience, as she's never done something like this with other people. However, she didn't really get the opportunity to expand her friendship with the rest of the girls. So, Ryosuke came up with a goal for Touko, to expand her social circle and create memories, even if she doesn't want him to. You then decide to get Touko to join the event committee as a way to help her get rid of the unwanted club invites. Ryosuke continues to try to get something out of Touko if she enjoyed the trip, but she doesn't really care about it, as long as the other girls had fun. She tells Ryosuke that she mostly likes to do things on her own. Touko then shows off the key to the building again, saying that this key actually belongs to her, but won't say anything else about it. After that, Ryosuke asks Touko to join the committee, to which she instantly says no, even after Ryosuke tells her it'll solve her solution with the clubs, to which she tells Ryosuke that she'd rather take a nap or relax than do a lot of work, and that she doesn't like cooperating with others. This scene overall gives such a good example of Touko's reserved and docile personality. You can tell that she just doesn't care about being with others. She would rather be alone than with other people. To her, there was no point of her being at the camp. yet she went along with it. The next day, after learning from Touko's classmates that she barely ever talked with them, you head to the old building only to find her, well, changing. Soon you and Touko hear the footsteps of people entering the building. You both hide as you listen to the conversation. That conversation itself seems to be about the building, particularly for the festival. But even as Ryosuke tries to listen, he can't concentrate due to being way too close to Touko. Once again, Ryosuke tries to get Touko to join the committee. While she didn't say no, she wants him to participate in activities for the Go Home Club, literally her own club that she just made up. To which Ryosuke says yes, so the two walk around Shionagi as they enjoy each other's company. However, even asking Touko again about the committee, she still says no. Another day continues. Touko tosses away an almost finished drawing, to which she says, "I just don't want it to let it keep existing." She loses interest in things easily. Ryosuke leaves her alone as he goes back to work, but after an encouraging message from Natsuki, he tries his best to convince Touko to join the committee again. After returning to Touko, Ryosuke continues to teach her how to use her phone. You still have to realize that she doesn't know how to use her phone well. As Ryosuke returns home and prepares for bed, Natsuki sends him a picture of Touko and revealing to him how he's secretly hiding the fact that he started to have feelings for Touko, to which she cheers him on. He soon realizes that he does actually like her. So now, how will he tell her his feelings? Soon, Ryosuke tells Touko that the people that came into the building was because they'll soon be opening up the building for the festival for specific classes, which upsets Touko as the place won't be a secret anymore. There's no other way for her to fight this. So Ryosuke will try to fix this to allow Touko to roam free in the building again. Even as he struggles with his feelings for her, after talking with his friends, he somewhat has an idea. Ryosuke soon asks Touko to join him and take charge of the building together. She soon asks why. And Ryosuke tells her because he likes her. He wants to protect her special place. However, she deflects it. Even after being persistent, she still continues to deflect his confession to her. He asks why she's doing this, but she says the same thing to him. She believes that the relationship right now is fine. Why add more worry? For her, it's a big problem. Touko wants to live a carefree life. She doesn't want to worry about others. That's when you realize she hates being tied down. She just wants to be free. While the confession ended in failure, Ryosuke still has a chance and learns something about Touko, and finally knows one of the reasons why she prefers to be alone. Even after the whole talk, he asks himself, does she have someone to talk things over with? Is she bottling up these feelings all on her own? So, Ryosuke has a plan to win over Touko. So the next day, Ryosuke straight up asks Touko out on a date. While she says that her answer won't change, he tells her to give him a chance, to see if he can change that answer, to which she agrees. So after school, the two begin their date, and as the day continues, you'll soon start to notice more and more about her personality. You also learn that she doesn't like to call people by their name. For her, it makes a goodbye feel painful. Even if he didn't get an answer from her, Ryosuke invites her on another date, to which she says, if I feel like it. The next day, Ryosuke asks Marika to help him find a gift for Touko. As they find a gift and she leaves for the day, Ryosuke soon notices Touko behind him, saying how he should follow Marika and not waste her time on her, basically showing her jealousy. In response to that, Ryosuke gives her the gift, a matching memorial capsule. However, she feels hesitant to accept it. It's where she tells Ryosuke this. Aren't you scared? Doesn't thinking about being separated make you scared or worried? That's why I was alone. That alone made Ryosuke realize she does think about him the most. Touko tells him, you're too close. You're getting close to me, and it scares me. This is where you finally realize her problem, her reason why she acts like this. She's been transferred from so many schools, she hates saying goodbye. She hates the idea of being separated from the people that she loves. It's the reason why she's always been alone. It's the reason why Touko is hesitant to be in a relationship with Ryosuke. Soon, Touko tells Ryosuke that her next move is sadly inevitable, and the time they have together is limited. It's also another reason why she didn't want to accept his feelings. But Ryosuke continues and tells her that even with this limited time, he can do his best to make this summer unforgettable. Soon, she finally accepts his feelings. The next day, the two go on a date, now fully as a couple, finally enjoying the day together as they end off their date with a kiss. After this, most of the route is cute, wholesome moments between the two. How they'll go on dates together, how Ryosuke will continue to do his best to create memories for Touko, and how they'll make sweet love for the first time. But you also see Ryosuke trying to support Touko with her future, especially on what career she should be focusing on, as she doesn't know what to focus for the future. But of course, not everything is going to be wholesome, as we slowly soon make our way toward the drama of the route. A few days later, Touko doesn't appear in the building. Even after Ryosuke continues to call and text her, he gets no response and continues to grow nervous. That's when Ryosuke finally realizes why. She's leaving Shionagi at the end of August. He finally sees her again at the building, leading to Touko telling him that she doesn't know what to do now. However, Touko tells Ryosuke the worst thing she could possibly say. This might be time to call it quits, meaning that they should break up before she leaves. She'd rather end things off before the festival, but Ryosuke refuses to end this. He already told her that he loves her, so now he asks her, does she love him back? Does she want to continue with this? Her response, she does. She feels lonely without him, but she's scared of leaving him. She hates goodbyes, but they're inevitable for her. So, just like before, Ryosuke will continue to cherish their time together as the moving date slowly arrives. Later on, Touko will tell the other girls that she will be moving, showcasing that she can still be strong through all of this. As they continue talking, a fellow student finds something within the storage closets of the building. A plastic hard case with a handle that's been sealed with duct tape. It's a lighter box, but definitely has something inside it. Ryosuke believes it's a time capsule due to some faded text. Touko and Ryosuke decide to leave it as it is for now, however the handle breaks and letters in a cardstock pours out. The date of these letters, 25 years ago. Ryosuke decides to put it all back, however one catches of interest to him after Touko looks at it specifically. But Shuichi calls him before he could take a look at it, but as he puts them away, Touko disappears. He texts her what happened, only for her to reply that nothing really did happen. The weeks pass by as Ryosuke and Touko continue to make memories. Soon, only 1 week remains until the festival. However, one day, Touko loses the key to the building. She starts panicking heavily as she tries to find it but to no avail. But after searching everywhere around the school, Ryosuke finds a cat that is holding Touko's key in their mouth. He chases after it and using the ball, he is able to make the cat drop the key. She thanks Ryosuke for finding it along with all the girls who try to help as well. There, she also reveals to the girls that she will be moving at the end of August, expecting them to be either mad or sad about it. However, it's the opposite. The girls want to make the most out of her final days here, to which Touko tearfully accepts. Finally, Ryosuke asks why the key was so important to her. Soon, she tells the story about it. It's a key that belongs to her parents when they first moved to Shionagi. She also points out about the time capsule they found. On the signature card was her dad's name, where he made a wish back when he was a student and it came true. It's also one of the reasons why Touko always moved from place to place. For Touko, she didn't want to ruin her dad's dream. She loves her family so much, she doesn't want to be selfish to them. If you think about it, she never really gave up. In reality, she accepted it and acted like it was normal. It's one of the reasons why she never really had a dream to focus on, because she was always moving around. She only wants one thing, one small little thing. She wants to find her happy place. The old building was a place that accepted her, a place to be alone. But when Ryosuke came to her life, she thought about never speaking to him ever again. Of course, now everything has changed, but she tells him that even after finding the key again, she was still scared to say thank you to the girls. She may have accepted Ryosuke's relationship, but she hasn't accepted the girls as her true friends yet. Soon, the deadline is almost here. For Ryosuke, he wants to show Touko something so impactful that she'll never forget about him. As Ryosuke goes around doing the final preparations for the festival along with the special gift for Touko, we enter the perspective of Touko as she sits alone in the old building. You'll soon start to hear her thoughts about Ryosuke and how special he is to her. As Ryosuke continues with the preparations, you'll continue to see Touko's thoughts, now realizing that without Ryosuke, she feels all alone. She is happy with all the memories that they made throughout the summer, but you can still see how scared she is of losing him. Even if Ryosuke is trying to call Touko, she is scared to pick up the call, because she doesn't want to forget his sweet voice. As the deadline is approaching, she continues to grow scared about losing him. She wants to be able to tell him her true feelings. The day of the festival finally arrives and Touko's special gift is ready. However, Touko is nowhere to be found. She finally does arrive and the two go on to explore the festival and the clubs that are showcasing. Touko still looks really sad even after visiting the Astronomy and Naturalist Club. She soon reveals that she feels like she's been a burden to him, how that they'll never see each other again in the next semester. In order to stop her pain, she wants to go back to how it was before, when the two were just friends. Ryosuke realizes that this is what she means when she leaves all these memories behind her. Everything that they know about Touko will reside in the old building. She knows about the promise that they made, but she's still scared of leaving Ryosuke behind. So Ryosuke asks her to rethink the answer once he shows her his gift. Touko wants to untie the memories they made, so it's only best if Ryosuke tightly ties that tie together so that it'll never untie again. Soon, as Touko makes her way to the meeting spot, Ryosuke reveals his gift for her. A bamboo display that is filled with countless tanzaku tied to it. The tanzaku all have wishes for Touko, from students from her class to club members. Even the girls made wishes for Touko, all showcasing how important she is to them. They're symbols of her connections with everyone, symbols that show her that she belongs here. Even if she's gone, the girls and Ryosuke will never forget her. Soon, she finally tells Ryosuke that she loves him. The next day, Touko tells Ryosuke that she's going to tell her parents that she wants to stay here. Knowing that she can live with her grandparents, she might have a chance. The following day, her parents allow her to stay in Shionagi, with Touko happily excited as Ryosuke smiles with joy about the reveal. Soon, the days pass by. Those days turn into months, and soon, a whole year. Ryosuke has been dating Touko for over a year now, and as they two chat on the rooftops of the school, the festival soon approaches, and Touko finds another bamboo display just like the gift Ryosuke gave her. Intending to be the first person to place a tanzaku on it, instead of placing a piece of paper on it, she places the key to the old school building, as it was torn down. Her school arc ends with Touko now happily enjoying her life, as she now has a place to call home. Before we move on to the after story, I wanted to point out something quite amazing and honestly shocking. So, believe it or not, you can get a bad ending to Touko's route.
What?
It's the only bad ending you can get in the entire story, and I never knew about this. Not until I was getting all the achievements on the PlayStation 4 version of Hoshi Ori Converted Edition, and I was just shocked by this discovery. Never in my life would I see that Hoshi Ori has a bad ending, knowing that this wholesome, relaxing, and heartwarming story has a bad ending. It just shocks me. The bad ending itself is honestly tear-jerking and emotional, as it shows the relationship of Ryosuke and Touko breaking apart as she leaves Shionagi with her parents, ending her route and returning us to the title screen. This made me cry. It's an ending that does not need to happen, but it could still happen either way. Touko doesn't deserve a bad ending. She's already been through so much. She doesn't deserve an ending like this. But thankfully, you can avoid it pretty easily. But it's quite insane to see a bad ending in Hoshi Ori. But that's what I love about visual novels though. It gives us new experiences, either bad or good. Whether we like it or not, these are experiences we have to at least try out. That alone can make the story even more emotional. Anyways, let's talk about the after story, shall we? The years have passed by. Touko and Ryosuke attended the same university after high school. Ryosuke continues to reach for his dream as an architect, while Touko, unexpectedly enough, applied to the English literature department. The two are living together, and while they've experienced a few difficulties, the relationship is what kept them together. And as you continue reading the after story, you'll continue to see how strong, caring, and supportive both Ryosuke and Touko are with each other. But also, we can see what Touko really wants to accomplish in her life, to find a dream that she's able to reach out and grab for. The route ends with Ryosuke and Touko planning their future ahead as they dream of having a family together. And soon, they finally get married, with Touko telling Ryosuke her dream, to support him and his dreams, to always walk beside him and treasure and protect his dream. He was able to make her wish come true, and now it's her turn to help him accomplish his dream. The credits roll as her ending song plays, that song being A Happy Place. In the original version of Hoshi Ori, that's where Touko's route ended, but if you have either the perfect edition or the converted edition, you'll get a special epilogue showcasing Ryosuke and Touko's honeymoon, with the route ending off with the two looking up at the stars as they talk about their future and how the two will be ready for anything. And that was Touko's route. You can see now why I consider this route to be the most dramatic one yet. Even more dramatic than Rikka's, to be honest. I was genuinely surprised when I first read her route. I didn't expect it to get so dramatic, but I absolutely loved it. It told and executed a great story of how a young woman had to deal with separation for the longest time. Now, she has a chance to find a place for her. It was an enjoyable, yet sad story. The star of the show is the drama and story. The drama in this route honestly feels much more personal and relatable, and mixing that in with the route's story, it honestly just feels real. The feeling of transferring from different schools, saying goodbye to the friends you made before, that alone will definitely feel relatable to a lot of people that had to go through something like this. The pain of losing the new friends you made, or even the pain of losing the special someone you fell in love with. It's something that you won't let go that easily. The drama is completely understandable and doesn't feel unnecessary. It goes along with the story extremely well and helps out with showcasing the theme of the route. To me, the theme of the route is loneliness. You can easily find moments that showcase this theme throughout Touko's route, and it's executed in a very emotional way. The story itself does take a while till we get to the drama. You can see that interacting with Touko in the common route doesn't do that much. It's only until we enter her route where we start to see the true feelings of what Touko experiences. It takes its time to prepare ourselves as we get into the route. The story doesn't feel long or short, but I will say that this might be one of the shortest or the shortest route in Hoshi Ori, but delivers a fantastic story. The opening and ending songs to Touko's route was amazing. Her ending song, A Happy Place by Duka, is phenomenal as it showcases the journey Touko had to go through to finally have a place to feel that she belongs there. A place where she can be loved and enjoy some quality time with friends. She finally found her happy place, and the ending song was the perfect choice to end her route. Touko's character really brings a lot of light to the story. This playful yet reserved person who just wants to be alone most of the time, you can tell this character isn't like the rest of the girls. But she has a great personality. She may be scared of leaving Shionagi, but she wants to be able to enjoy the limited time she has left. You can tell how caring she is to Ryosuke and the girls, even if she tries to brush it off. Touko's VA, Hatsumi Takada, did a phenomenal job with voicing Touko. She brought her playful personality to life and really made the emotional moments quite powerful. She also voices other characters from other visual novels, like Yoru from If My Heart Had Wings, as well as Yumiko from Majikoi S, and Itsuki from Haru Kiss. Once again, Ryosuke is still one of the best protagonists in any VN I've ever read. I don't need to repeat myself, but to put it shortly, he's caring, helpful, kind, and supportive. He wants to help Touko achieve and find a dream to reach for. It's really sweet to see. Touko Yukimura is a playful, mischievous, and reserved person who didn't want to go through another sad experience of leaving some friends behind. But with the help of Ryosuke and the girls, she was able to break out of her shell and finally put an end to this long, painful experience. This was the story of a docile, teasing, playful, and strong transfer student who is all alone and lost interest in having a social life. But she was able to see and experience how special memories and friendship can be. She finally belonged somewhere, showcasing to us that sometimes we don't want to say goodbye to the things we love. We just gotta find a way to keep those happy moments to us and be able to find our happy place within our lives. Touko's route was pretty unexpected, but after rereading it again, I fully respect it even more. The execution definitely helps bring the emotion more strongly. So then, let's move on to our next story, the story of our cheerful marine life lover. Let's take a look at the story of Misa's route. You'll first meet Misa as you walk towards Shionagi's famous aquarium in your first week of school, Marimpia Shionagi, where it has been closed after years of business hardship. You see a young woman crying near the doors of the aquarium. She says she's fine after Ryosuke asks if she was okay. He later explains that he was looking forward to seeing it one last time, explaining his past experiences of the aquarium with her. Soon, the young woman calls someone as she says she has been granted permission to take him to the deep blue world, meaning she allowed him to see the aquarium. The aquarium itself is beautiful and still lively with a ton of aquatic creatures. Ryosuke asks if she was involved with the aquarium, to which she replies, "I guess you can say that." She gives Ryosuke a full guided tour of the aquarium, like if he was a tourist viewing it for the first time. Her voice as she tells her story almost feels like he's starting to drift with the ocean, almost like he's slowly entering a dream. After finishing the tour, Ryosuke introduced himself and asked for her name being Misa Okihara. You soon meet Misa once again during school, where she is actually the president of the Naturalist Club. However, she is the only club member. Ryosuke then finds out the reason why she was allowed to take him inside of the closed aquarium, because it's operated by a corporation owned by her father. After that, Ryosuke asks Misa about the Tanabata festival and why she won't be participating in it. Because she barely has any sea creatures. All she has are jellyfish. But the main reason, because she believed people will find her club to be dull, and if a new member joined the club, they would also have to suffer the same problems she is going through with the club right now, where it'll be difficult to get new members interested. Later on, Ryosuke would host a meeting between both Misa and Sora, who is also the president of the astronomy club, where he explains to the two that the committee is worried about the two clubs and that they really want the two to participate. He wants others to see how passionate the two are with their clubs. So, the committee, along with Misa and Sora, made a proposition. They would all work together to figure out what they can do for the festival, which also gets Natsuki an idea to continue to bond with one another. And that's the camping trip. During the trip, he helps her carry plastic water bottles back to the camp, where Ryosuke really notices her love for the ocean and nature. Although there's not much to say about this interaction at all, except for the cute moment where they drink from the same water bottle, but that's really it for this scene. We now begin Misa's route. We finally now have an idea of what Misa and Sora want to do for the festival. Misa wants to create a mini aquarium, while Sora wants to create a planetarium. After talking with the rest of the girls, Ryosuke asks both Misa and Sora to teach them why both the sea and the stars are important for us to know. While Sora immediately says yes, Misa hesitates but agrees. However, she needs to find the perfect place to showcase the importance of the ocean. The day of the meetup is here, and both Sora and Misa do their own things to showcase their love for the ocean and the stars. Sora takes them to the Shionagi Planetarium. Next, it was Misa's turn, where she takes the group to the Japan's Maldives, where Misa goes into heavy detail about the ocean. Soon the nighttime sky arrives, and the waves of the ocean lights up. The water glitters strong, with Misa calling these lights sea fireflies. She also begins to open up more about her past, how her parents wanted her to understand the wonders of the mother of life and the ocean, and how they want her to showcase the beauty to many people. The following day, Sora announces that the astronomy club will not participate in the festival. However, she will help Misa with the naturalist club, to which Misa agrees tearfully. Soon, they finally found the perfect theme for the club, a nighttime sea with drawings of constellations on the fish tanks, making it as if you were swimming in the deep blue sea under the nighttime sky. So now that the theme is ready, the plan now is to get some tanks and fill them up with fishes. So Misa and Ryosuke and the other girls head to the ocean to observe and see if they can find some fishes for the tanks. And another day, you'll later find out that back when she was little, Misa was afraid to go in the ocean. Until with the help of her parents, she was able to open her eyes, and that's where she was able to find her love for the ocean. However, during another committee meeting, a member of the team accidentally ruins the vibes by saying why the aquarium closed down, because literally no one cares about it, which makes Misa emotionally upset. So Ryosuke takes her to the roof to get her back into the mood. For her, she still believes that no one cares about the ocean. She's starting to lose confidence. So Ryosuke takes a look on the net to see what really happened with the aquarium. Misa says the aquarium closed because of poor business, but Ryosuke soon finds out that there's a lot of people out there that genuinely miss the aquarium. He reaches out to his teacher and idol, Azuma, as he designed the looks and architecture of the aquarium, and finds out that Marimpia's attendance, while it did decrease, it decreased less than other aquariums. But it turns out that the construction on the aquarium was fraught with financial issues from the beginning, which also let Azuma design the architecture for free instead of paying him, after seeing how passionate Misa's father was with the project. That alone allowed the committee to help build the aquarium in the old classroom building, granting them with access to enter, with Misa tearfully thanking Ryosuke for all his help. As a way of saying thank you, she helps Ryosuke study well for the upcoming exams, while also inviting him to go on vacation to her secret spot, just the two of them. The vacation soon arrives and they return back to Japan to Maldives, but only this time, they're taking a boat towards Urashima Island, an island that is uninhabited but was used by Misa's father for the aquarium, which is why it's Misa's secret spot. The two go diving in the ocean, where Ryosuke fully sees the ocean and its beauty, the small details within the ocean, and the variety of sea life swimming around. It's all so mesmerizing to see. Well, that and Misa in front of him too. But after collecting fishes, Ryosuke accidentally lets out a confession to Misa, which causes the two to be completely embarrassed, but the important thing though, it made Misa really happy to hear. Later on, during another ocean dive, the two finally confess their feelings for each other and kiss, now finally becoming a couple. The following parts in the route is pure romantic sugar, where Misa and Ryosuke celebrate being a couple, going on dates together, Ryosuke helping Misa out with her club for the festival, and of course, making sweet love for the first time. During one of their dates, Ryosuke was able to find a special plush that Misa really missed from the aquarium, a long-lost Marimpia jellyfish plushie, a gift from Ryosuke for her birthday. In another day, a hurricane is soon closing in towards Shionagi, and Ryosuke stays at the school for the night in order to protect the fish tanks. However, it becomes too overwhelming for him to save the tanks, so during the hurricane, Misa rushes back to the old classrooms to save him from all the work. But also, Misa's father arrives to help. After finally helping Ryosuke, Misa soon becomes exhausted and peacefully sleeps, while Ryosuke and Misa's father have a peaceful and comfortable conversation about what had been happening with their lives and the relationship as well. He talks about how it was all his fault for the closure of the aquarium, but Ryosuke reassures him it wasn't his fault. Misa's father explains he still wants to reopen the aquarium, but he's getting old now, and he doesn't feel like it's his goal now. Why? Because it's Misa's goal. He would love to see Misa achieve her dream and reopen the aquarium. He finally thanks Ryosuke for being Misa's special someone that was able to understand her and be by her side, and wishing him to take good care of her. Soon, days before the festival, the water in the tanks soon become unhealthy, and even after trying to fix it, the result becomes worse and the water becomes in what Misa calls cloudy. She soon becomes saddened by the troubles, so Ryosuke takes her back to Marimpia. The water and the fish are completely gone, as the aquarium is soon almost ready to say goodbye. There, Misa talks about how hard it is for her to show the people how special the ocean truly is. But Ryosuke reassures her that that is not the problem. He also tells her that there is a way to fix the clouding, but it's something that Misa finds difficult to do. And the solution? Just do nothing. Let nature resolve its issue and let the tanks be. Just be confident, and the problems will go away. Even when Misa still believes the issue won't be fixed, he still reassures her that it will. Soon, with the help of Suichi, he shows her what he has been working on for the club, a small-scale model of the aquarium. It brings Misa back as to how the aquarium was back then. She smiles wholeheartedly at the model, with Ryosuke letting her know that this represents not only in the aquarium back in the past, but hopefully in the future. The festival soon happens and the club is full of people enjoying the combination of the stars and the ocean within the small aquarium. Even Misa's parents visit and look happily at Marimpia's model that Ryosuke made, thanking him for creating such a beautiful piece of work. Misa's school arc ends with Ryosuke and Misa happily enjoying the festival together, with Ryosuke and Misa making a promise to stay together with each other forever. Now let's talk about the after story. Once again, the years have passed by as Ryosuke and Misa have grown up. Now I won't say much about the beginning parts of the after story because it does start off in a pretty surprising way. But to put it simply, Misa is now a junior research fellow for a university's Aquatic Agriculture and Marine Science department, while Ryosuke became an architect working alongside his boss, Azuma. All the route focuses on Misa's focus on reopening the aquarium, alongside with the romance between Ryosuke and Misa. As the afterstory comes to a close, Ryosuke and Misa look around at the aquarium one last time before its grand reopening. That is, until Ryosuke finally proposes to Misa, to which she happily accepts. The route officially ends with Ryosuke and Misa's wedding taking place in the newly reopened Marimpia Shionagi, with Misa happily loving how her dream finally came true, and thanking Ryosuke for being a part of her life, as the song Set Course for the Future plays during the credits. And that was Misa's route. Honestly, that was such a relaxing and simple route. And as you can probably tell, there wasn't a whole lot going on in the route. Everything just felt pretty simple and laid back. Honestly, I would even say that this felt pretty similar to Natsuki's route, where it was pretty laid back with its story. But that's not honestly a bad thing. A lot of the stories can be pretty relaxing when it comes to this. They either had to fit in a really cool theme or message to make itself stand out. And Misa's route does that. It takes you on a journey into the ocean, as you fully immerse yourself in the tranquility and quiet ambience of the ocean. And that's pretty much one of the highlights of the route, the atmosphere and ambience of the route. In some parts of the route, the music completely changes into a very mellow and calming tone, immersing you with the CG or story part of the route. The main point of these parts is to showcase the true ambience of the ocean floor, as it tries to make you feel a part of the story, almost like if you were swimming past the exotic ocean life. Some of these scenes are genuinely really beautiful and showcases some of the best art of Hoshi Ori. It fits extremely well with the theme of marine life and how special it is to Misa as she tries to not only show Ryosuke this, but also to us on how amazing the ocean really is. The other highlight is honestly the satisfying yet extremely simple story. I love how everything changes once you continue on with the story, how you'll see the development of Misa's goal as she slowly gains the confidence to continue on with her dream of reopening the aquarium. It's really wholesome to see how far she's come from the beginning of the route, how sad she felt knowing that her precious aquarium would be gone in the future, to now, we're at the end of all of it. She finally was able to reopen the aquarium and marry Ryosuke. Sure, the layout of the story is extremely simple, yet there's a certain level of charm to it that still makes it a fun read. The drama itself is nothing too special as it's very plain and basic, but what it does is showcases more on Misa's character, on how she believes that no one really cares about the ocean anymore. She continues to fill her head with these thoughts as maybe that's why the aquarium failed, maybe that's why the Naturist Club doesn't get any members. It's very simple drama, but it does a good job showcasing the struggles Misa goes through as she tries to get rid of those thoughts and regain her confidence. Misa's VA, Mami Ozaki, did a fantastic job capturing Misa's strong, lighthearted personality. She was able to showcase a lot of the strong, playful personality she has when it comes to the ocean, along with capturing the small emotional moments in the route. Her voice really gave such a relaxing and genuine happy feeling when she loves to talk about the ocean. She also voices Tokino from Hello Lady and Momoka from Genyo Haruka. The ending song to Misa's route is honestly a great song to end the route, and I love the name of the song too, Set Course for the Future. It really sets such a good emotion once you listen to it, since now that Misa has reopened her aquarium and Ryosuke married her, it's time to look forward to what the future has in store for the two of them. But I will be honest about this. This is the route where people will definitely have mixed feelings about. Some might either find this route cute and wholesome, but others will find this route to be boring or uninteresting. And I can definitely understand that. It's not going to be for everyone, that's for sure. As like I said, the route is very simple. It's not like Natsuki's route where it's much more lively and entertaining. This one tries to be much more relaxing and laid back. And if it's too laid back for you, then that's understandable. Misa Okihara is a curious, eccentric, and hard-working person who only wants one thing in her life, to be able to reopen her precious family aquarium. And with the help of Ryosuke and the girls, she was able to showcase her love for the ocean to the public and regain confidence in wanting to reach for her goal. This was the story of a kind, relaxed, mature, and refined marine life lover who only wants to show the world how special the ocean can truly be. From her tearful feelings of when she was sad to see her family's aquarium close down, to her happy and bright smile as she gets married to Ryosuke and her newly reopened family aquarium. She was able to reach her dreams and find someone special in her life that truly understands her. She was able to find something truly special, something beyond the sea. Misa's route is definitely my least favorite route, I'll admit that, but it's still really enjoyable for what it is, especially with how the story is structured. But you either like it or not, so it's up to you if you really enjoy the route. So let's move on to the final story of the novel, the story of our quiet astronomy lover. Let's take a look at the story of Sora's route. Before meeting Sora, as Ryosuke heads to enter the school to finalize his transfer, he looks up to see something floating in the sky. As he picks it up from the ground, he sees that it's a golden paper star. On the back, it says, "I wish to see you again." After making your way toward the school and up to the school's roof, you see a student looking at a telescope. What stands out to Ryosuke is her light blue hair, which makes her look very pretty. She doesn't respond much to him, only with silence and nods. He asks if he could see what she's seen, to which she allows. He soon sees a very detailed look at the moon, to which she explains the small craters on it, as well as explaining that she's a part of the astronomy club. As Ryosuke begins his school life, he introduces himself to the student, to which she also introduces herself to him. Her name? Sora Osaka. She tells him that she is the astronomy club president even though she is a first year, as well as explaining that she is the only member in the club. For today's viewing, Sora shows Ryosuke a beautiful look at the ocean, to which he is at awe by what he's viewing. She's perplexed by his reaction, but she doesn't mind it. Ryosuke then walks around the school to confirm with the many clubs if they are participating in the festival. That's where they talk with Sora and ask if she is participating. She says no because she's the only member of the club. Ryosuke says that if she participates, she can find new friends who enjoy astronomy, but she replies to him saying, "All I want is to be able to take my time looking at the stars. That's what makes me happy." While Ryosuke gives up on trying to make her join, she looks back and feels bad for her because she just looks lonely over there. Ryosuke's friend Suichi explains that he went through a similar experience as to what Ryosuke went through. Even if that person feels lonely, having another person by their side isn't all that bad. In fact, it's rather nice. So Ryosuke asks both Sora and Misa one last time if they would like to join the festival, to which they agree once Marika and Natsuki say they'll help them. and as usual, the camping trip is created in order to form a better bond between everybody. In another day, as Ryosuke looks up to the stars, he texts Sora asking about any constellations that would be easy to find, to which she gladly explains to him. Ryosuke sees that she is truly passionate about the stars, and hopes that with Sora's incredible talent with teaching the stars, he could find a perfect use for those skills in the festival. On the day of the camping trip, Ryosuke goes over to check on Sora, who is peeling vegetables. Ryosuke talks with her about the future, to which surprises Sora. He asks if she would like to watch the stars for the rest of her life, to which she gladly smiles, saying that it would make her really happy. We always get a cute moment between the two as Ryosuke is cutting up onions and crying uncontrollably. Sora uses her handkerchief to clear his tears as she stands close to him. Honestly, a very cute moment. We soon arrive in Sora's route. After some small talk with Sora, she still refuses to participate in the festival, even after having fun during the camping trip. Ryosuke explains that Misa is already doing her part and asks that even a little idea could help out a lot. Sora tells him that she'll think of an idea, and when she found the perfect idea, she'll tell Ryosuke. During an event committee meeting, Shuichi tells Ryosuke his goal. His goal is to get Sora to participate in the festival, as well as helping her with whatever idea she comes up with. So, Ryosuke will participate alongside Sora in the astronomy club, so that they can both develop a good idea for the festival. As they wait for the nighttime sky to shine, Ryosuke takes Sora to go and eat somewhere, and he takes him to eat something she has never eaten before: a burger. While she likes it, she hates the pickles. Either way, this part is really cute. The days pass by as Ryosuke continues to support Sora, where, thanks to Ryosuke's actions, they were able to get access to stay later in school to finally look up and view the nighttime skies and its beautiful stars. It's where we get another wholesome small moment where Sora lays Ryosuke down as she lays his head on her legs to get a better look at the stars. This all culminates to Ryosuke slowly realizing that he's getting feelings for Sora. During another school day, thanks to Natsuki, we soon learn that Sora is waiting for her first love. Remember that star she wrote in the beginning of the video? That's her wishing that she would get the chance to see him again. Of course, for Ryosuke, he wants to know what type of guy he is, and why he's so special to Sora. Soon, Sora tells a story about how special the stars can be, especially with encounters. She explains that there was a boy who saved her when she was young. He encouraged her while he talked about the stars with her, to which she tells Ryosuke that he's kinda similar to him. She goes on to say that he taught her watching the stars can be fun, not just for yourself, but for everyone. That's where she was able to make friends, especially with Ryosuke. It's why she loves the stars. Soon, one night, Ryosuke finally gains the confidence to tell Sora that he likes her. However, Sora declines, but later tells him that she wants to think about it first, to which Ryosuke tells her that he'll patiently wait for her response. In another day, while talking with Marika, he soon realizes something about his past. He vaguely remembers being in the park when he was little talking about the stars, but with someone else. It wasn't Marika though. During another club meeting, rain starts to pour alongside thunder, so Ryosuke quickly helps out Sora by saving the telescope. However, due to this, it causes him to be sick. As he continues to sleep in his bed to get himself better, he soon recalls a dream of his childhood, where he was talking with someone about the stars. The following day, Sora comes over to his home thanks to Marika and Natsuki, where she says it felt strange without Ryosuke next to her. She tells him that she was used to being alone, but now that Ryosuke hangs out with her, she finds it strange to be alone without him. Soon, Ryosuke requests that Sora joins the festival, to which she actually accepts. Later on, she tells Ryosuke something special that he's forgotten about. Sora explains that she got lost in the festival once when she was a child, to which she reveals that she was saved by a boy. That boy was none other than Ryosuke himself. He soon goes through his memories to see if that was true, and sure enough, it was. He was the one who showed Sora how special and fun looking up at the stars was. He was the one who helped her return home after being lost. He soon finally realizes that it was him all along. Sora then tells Ryosuke that she likes him, finally accepting his confession as well as giving him a slow kiss. now fully becoming a couple. During their first date, Ryosuke comes up with an idea for the festival for Sora. Why not build a small planetarium? Which Sora believes would be a fantastic idea, and soon they finally laid out their plans for the festival. The rest of the school route is just that. We see how Sora and Ryosuke prepare themselves for the festival as they get a part-time job and get some help from their friends with building the planetarium. And of course, we get to see more romantic moments between them, including their first time making sweet love. Soon they finally build the planetarium, with Sora now feeling satisfied that they were able to complete the goal. However, as Ryosuke and Sora returns to the group after buying drinks, they find the planetarium completely collapsed due to the weight of the cardboard. Sora blames herself for the situation and cries as Ryosuke hugs her to calm herself. After talking with his boss or teacher, Azuma, along with making a few calls, he is able to get a ton of stronger cardboard to create a more stable planetarium, with Sora calling the new planetarium Starwing. The day of the festival arrives and people are loving the planetarium. The school arc ends with Sora finally showcasing her love of the stars as she talks happily with the guests. And she also thanks Ryosuke for everything. We now move on to Sora's after story. The years have passed since the day at the festival. Ryosuke is now leaving Azuma's architect agency to finally become an independent architect. Now, after finally having enough resources and knowledge, he is able to finally work on his own, a dream he always wanted to achieve. Sora is also finally fulfilling her dream as well, as she is now a navigator for the Science Museum's planetarium, now fully communicating with the wonders of the stars to lots of people. You'll see how they'll both go through their lives now that they finally achieved their dreams, and see what new experiences await for them, whether they are positive or negative. The route ends with Sora and Ryosuke finally getting married, now together and forever. They soon head to their true destination after their wedding, a world-renowned stargazing spot, where they are both at awe with how incredible the stars look in the sky. Sora thanks him for finding him among so many stars, thanking him for bringing her here, and thanking him for falling in love with only her. The credits roll as the song Celestia plays in the background. And that was Sora's route. Honestly, this one took me by surprise when I first read it. In all seriousness, I thought I wouldn't like this route, but thankfully I genuinely enjoyed it. The route is a bit more slow paced when I first read this, but it really fits well due to the pace of Sora's character. But you can probably tell that there isn't a lot to talk about in this route, as most of the route is either Sora talking about the stars or the slow development of the planetarium. To be honest, this felt much more simpler and basic, or standard, whichever of the two. That's not really a bad thing, but it can turn a lot of people away from reading this route. The main aspect of this route is mostly the story's development. We have to remember that Sora was basically the quote-unquote true route to Hoshi Ori, since she is the first girl you meet, along with that she is in the center of the physical box of the visual novel. Plus, the story is leaning toward her route more. Of course, Rikka basically replaced Sora since she is the most popular girl in Hoshi Ori, but the development in her route, whether it was Sora's life or Ryosuke's life, it was executed very well. It's cool to see Ryosuke now finally becoming an independent architect with his own business, unlike in the past routes where he still worked with Asuma. And for Sora, it's really sweet to see her character development, where she was this person who just wants to watch the stars, even if she was alone. But when Ryosuke came into her life, she started to care more about showing her love about the stars to more people. And now, she's able to do that now as an adult. So it's very satisfying to see it all play out in this route. As I said, most of the route is Sora explaining a lot about the stars to Ryosuke explaining every detail from what specific stars appear in the night to what constellations can appear in the sky. She goes into detail with all of her information, which perfectly showcases her love of the stars and why she finds the stars to be something magical for her. I also really love Sora's design and character. She talks quietly with most of her interactions being nods or a thumbs up. So a lot of these cute scenes really bring a smile to my face, which is why some people call this the ASMR route, due to her talking less and her quiet voice, which sounds about right. The pacing was done amazingly well. Again, it's much more slower pace, but it works really well with the story and Sora's character. It brings in a more calming atmosphere to the route, especially when it comes to the scenes where Sora talks about the stars. The slower pace is a great touch to the story and makes the experience really well done. Sora's VA, Atsumi Tanizaki, perfectly captured Sora's quiet personality with her voice. I honestly couldn't think of a better voice for her. Tanizaki captured even the smallest details right. Even the sounds that Sora makes when she nods or shakes her head, it's done extremely well. Tanizaki has also done some very notable voices for other visual novels, especially as Anzu from Clover Days, Ayase from Riddle Joker, and Nene from Son of a Witch. Sora Arasaka is a quiet, blunt, yet honest person who only wants one thing in her life, to just enjoy looking up at the stars in her own leisure. But soon, she finally finds a dream where she can fully showcase and share her love of the stars with many people. And reuniting with Ryosuke allows her to fully convince herself to pursue her dream in the future. Soon, the two are able to fulfill their dreams, and are now living their best lives yet, happily married where the two can do what they do best. This was the story of an honest, kind, and smart person who simply loves looking up at the stars. From when Ryosuke and Sora first met, to their first kiss, to them fully achieving their goals and getting married in the end. Sora was given the best life ever. Whether this was fate or not, for her, this was the final wish. A wish where she was given the perfect life. Sora's route, as you can tell, is definitely supposed to show that she is the true girl of the original Hoshi Ori. But then you have Rikka and Touko having epilogues. And yeah, I guess Sora isn't the true girl now, but she does have a pretty great route that at least fits in with the original story of Hoshi Ori. So as you can see, I really enjoyed all the routes in Hoshi Ori. They all offer a great selection of stories and ideas. They're fun, romantic, comedic, and very satisfying to read through. But before we close this celebration off, I want to talk about my recent thoughts on Hoshi Ori. So, let's enter our next segment, called 2 Years Later. So it's been 2 whole years since I read Hoshi Ori for the first time, and I just reread the visual novel for this video. So, what are my thoughts on it now 2 years later? Honestly, I still love it. It's still a great visual novel to play through as it brings me a lot of memories from when I first read the visual novel. But after rereading it, I can definitely see some issues within the novel. For one, the routes themselves. While they're still really enjoyable, they all feel very similar in my opinion, especially the after stories. I wish they could add more variety toward each route, especially when it comes to the after story. Geniro Haruka adds so much variety in its routes, especially with how different each story felt like. That's what I would have wanted in Hoshi Ori. Just more variety. Add something new, different, something that could spice up the stories. Next, as I've said before, Misa's route is definitely my least favorite route. While it's still fun to read through, it does get pretty boring after the confession scene. I don't know, I feel like they could have done a better way to execute her story. It was structured well, but there needs to be more spice to it to give it a kick and make it more entertaining to read. To me, it just felt tiring to read after Misa and Ryosuke got together, so it honestly made me sad after I finished rereading her route. Finally, I wish we could have done more stuff aside from the school stuff in the school arc. The whole making the festival stuff within the school arc is fine, but it would be nice to just do something else. Go on more dates, show us more of Shionagi and what it has to offer. World building would be nice to explore more in Hoshi Ori. Just keeping it to the same locations, the same classrooms, it gets really repetitive and stale. I wish we could see more of Shionagi. I feel like that could have added at least a bit more ideas toward each route. But oh well. Hoshi Ori is still a great visual novel. Good routes, fantastic characters, phenomenal music, beautiful art, and great voice acting. But rereading it again, it hurts me to say this, but it does have some issues within. I can't ignore it. And honestly, I think it's time we settle this once and for all. Ever since I finished reading Hoshi Ori, I've always considered it to be a perfect visual novel. Everything that I've ever wanted in a visual novel. But now, while it hurts me to say it, however, it is the truth. Hoshi Ori isn't perfect. It has some issues within that don't make this to be perfect, but even with those issues, I can still find some fun within. I've always appreciated this visual novel, and I still do this to this day. Hoshi Ori might not be my favorite Toneworks visual novel, nor is Rikka my favorite VN heroine of all time, but to me, I still consider this VN to be an important piece to my history with visual novels. It helped me discover my love for VNs. It allowed me to discover so many other Moege VNs to read through. It made me become a huge supporter for Toneworks, and it also introduced me to my fellow visual novel friends. Without my original review of Hoshi Ori, I don't think I would have met my VN friends. So in reality, I'm thankful for Hoshi Ori. I'm glad it entered my life. For now, I think it's time we change my score on VNDB of Hoshi Ori. And I think it's time to give Hoshi Ori a rest. Thank you, Hoshi Ori. You can rest now. I think it's time we read a new visual novel now. Maybe Kwanan, or maybe Nukatashi. I'm down with whichever, honestly. There's plenty of visual novels out there that are waiting to be discovered. So, hey, go out and find your special someone.